created.
That would be a start.
You know what, Your Honor, I did not bring a copy of the logo.
Ridiculous.
This is Judge Judy. Amy Davis is suing Corey Dyer for the return of a deposit for marketing services for her beauty pageant coaching program.
Judge, this is case number 9 on the calendar in the matter of Davis versus Dyer. Parties have been sworn in. Sir, you may have a seat, please.
Miss Davis, you developed a website. It sounds to me as if it was sort of a mentoring website for young women who were preparing for beauty pageants, who needed some coaching. And as a former beauty pageant winner, and I understand from your complaint that you were,
yes,
you felt as if you had some qualifications to do that. The website was developed and you needed someone to help you market it, according to what I read, and you retained the defendant in order to do that. You gave her a $5,000 deposit. According to you, she did little or nothing to earn that. You want your money back. That's what the case is about. So how did you find the defendant?
The defendant found me on social media through Facebook.
Miss Dyer, tell me how you found the plaintiff.
I met Amy and that's how I originally met Amy. I had a client who had recently launched from his stem cell business into a medical spa. We were doing a marketing campaign where we were looking for models to actually demonstrate the services. And I reached out to her and I explained to her what we were doing. And if she was interested, that she would receive over $5,000 in Botox, fillers, and lip injections.
If she was interested in modeling for this other client of yours?
Yes.
Well, how did it come about that you offered your services as a marketer to her?
That is how the doctor wanted to do it, in exchange for them coming. We had a group of where we were marketing to the masses to come in and see these services done. And so they would come in.
No, listen to me. You were offering her,
yes,
is what you're telling me, a job.
Yeah, it was
I want to know how it came about. No. I want to know how it came about that she gave you $5,000.
Okay. So when we were finished, I was in the conference room and Amy came in and we started to talk. I wanted to find out how it went for her.
So you employed her? Your company employed her?
Yes.
Okay. And you were talking to her?
Yes.
In the conference room. That was in 2018?
Yes. It was September 27th.
Okay.
I have a picture.
Sure,
okay.
Just tell me the story.
So I was in the conference room. I asked her how it went. She said she really enjoyed it. We started to speak. She asked me what I did doing for the particular company. I explained to her what I did in marketing, and she said that she had been wanting to take her coaching program online and was needing some help. And I told her that I would love to help her. I would love to learn more. She started to show me on her phone other people that she knew.
You mean this was all in the conference room?
Yes.
Shh. This was all in the conference room. Okay, that was after the gig. So you spoke for a while in the conference room.
Yes.
And she showed you what she was doing online, what the program was that she was doing online.
Yes, you are correct.
Okay, so
yeah, we
that
spoke
was
for a couple hours.
Nice. Okay, that's good. And what happened next?
So she wanted to know how much it would cost to retain my services. I told her for what she's looking at to do something online, it would start her probably about $10,000 to start. And she says, I don't have that much. And I said, well, I mean, it sounds like a great opportunity. I'd like to learn more, but maybe we could do some rev share. Maybe what we could have you do is pay half of that and we rev share on the profits. And she said, that sounds very interesting. And so we talked a little bit more. And as I learned more about it, I got more excited because she was showing me these other accounts.
Are you talking to me about the conversation you had with her on September day? That's all
the same
September
day, Your Honor.
27th.
Yes.
The same day. Okay. When was the next date you saw her?
She wrote me a check out that day.
No. When was the next day you saw her?
That would have been October 1st.
Where did you see her?
She came over to our office. She brought Greg with her.
Who was Greg?
The gentleman that is with her.
Your partner, your husband?
That's me, Your Honor. I'm a friend
He's
of
a friend.
Amy's. I'm also an
down.
attorney, but I'm not Amy's attorney.
Okay, just sit. You're a friend. Okay, so she brought Greg with her, and?
She told me and Jarrell and Emily that this was her boyfriend, and she wanted him to hear and learn more.
I don't care.
Okay, that's not important.
Doesn't matter. 27th, you didn't have a meeting. You were talking.
Yes.
She came to your office on October 1st.
Yes.
She had already written a check to you for $5,000.
She had.
That she gave you on September 27th, for which you did no work. That was just a sort of beginning process.
We actually started.
Right? You hadn't done any work.
Yeah, we actually had started all the research because we were there to meet with her on the 1st to go and show her all the research we had done. And so we spent about 300.
I don't know. I want to know what you did for her between September 27th and October.
As we spent that time preparing to see her, and we had done about 360 hours of research in researching
ridiculous
what she needed.
Ridiculous. Ridiculous.
So the research is necessary.
What I'm telling you is between September 27th, which goes into September 28th, because you already had done a job on the 27th, you are not going to convince me that you did 360 hours between the 28th of September and the 1st of October.
Yeah.
360 hours, because there aren't 360 hours in that period of time.
We did, well, man hours. So there was 3 of us that did it, and then man hours, that's what it took, so that when we met with Amy, we could actually see what we were looking at.
Who's 3?
Myself,
Who's 3?
Jarrell, and Emily.
Who are those 2 people?
Jarrell and Emily are my partners.
Are they your children?
They are.
Okay, so you met with her and your 2 kids.
Yes.
How old are you?
I'm 55.
And how old are your children?
31. And he is an artist and a designer, and my daughter.
Just one second. I'm not finished.
Okay.
He's 31.
Yes.
And he was at this meeting on October 1st.
Yes.
Was he at that meeting on October 1st?
Yes.
And
Went to FIT and graduated in FITM and design.
And was she at the meeting on October 1st? Hello, Miss Davis?
Yes, she was at the meeting on October 1st.
So you were there, your 2 children, the plaintiff and her friend.
Yes.
And what time was the meeting called?
What time was it called
What
for?
time was the meeting called for?
I'm going to say it was in the morning. Amy was running a little bit late.
In the a.m.
Yes.
And I want you to show me what you presented to her on October 1st as a result of the 360 man-hours that you spent on the 28th, the 29th, and the 30th. Show me what you presented to her. Okay, warranty of services.
Yeah.
What is that?
So this is basically showing her exactly line by line what we would be doing to be able to.
So this is what you say you're going to do for her. I want you to show me the product of 360 man-hours of work.
We didn't know what we were going to be able to do until we researched and looked at all the other online pageant, the people and what they were doing, what they were charging, what their volume was, how many awards they had won. We need to have something to compare by to be able to create that marketing for her. And so that was the time that we spent.
So nor can you show me anything that you
Well, yeah, where the product started.
360 man-hours.
Yes, so where that hit.
So
where that started.
You're a marketer.
You bet. So where that started was after our meeting with Greg and Amy. That's when we began and started to do the work. Amy had come in. She brought. Yes.
So now what you're saying is you didn't do any work between the 27th and the 1st except to prepare this one-page thing of what you proposed to do for her.
That would be correct.
Is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, good. So now that's clear, because I was confused about the 360 hours from 2 days. That math doesn't work for me, and I'm pretty dumb in math. So after they left and you had her $5,000, that was on October 1st.
Is when they came.
When was the next time you saw Miss Davis?
So the next time I saw her from the time that we were in the...
October 1st.
It was October 1st.
Very easy.
And this is important, Judge, because this is...
Pay careful attention to me.
Yes.
My question is a direct one. We are now in August of 2020.
Yes.
I want to know, after October 1st, 2000, you saw Miss Davis.
So the communication was there through
text
messaging.
That's a date. That's not a so. That's not a so. No, that's not a so. That's a date.
Okay.
That's not a so.
October 2nd.
That's not a story.
October 2nd, 2018.
Where did you see her?
So she was texting us.
Where did you see her?
Well, she ghosted us after the 5th. I never saw her again after the 5th. Literally for a year, she ghosted us.
Oh, just a second. Listen to me. I asked you a simple question.
Yes.
From October 1st, 2018, until the next date that you saw her.
Well, it was by phone.
And you said October 2nd.
By phone.
No, not by phone. In person. She gave you $5,000.
Never saw her.
I want to know when the next time.
Never saw her in person after October 1st. She completely ghosted us after
$5,000? That's very...
She ghosted us for a year after the 5th.
I
Meaning
have
that
no idea what you...
So ghosted is when they just don't show up. They don't show up to the meetings. They tell you they're late. They tell you that they have prepared their script like she did and she never prepared it. They lied and said she had all this information ready for us and we were all ready to start shooting her and filming her and she didn't show up.
So what I want you to do is show me what you did for her between October 1st, 2018 and today. What you did for her.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today.
How much did Mr. pay you for the contents of the salon, other than forgiving you your rent?
It was the next 2 years' worth of lease.
I think I have a feeling that Bill got snookered. He got snookered by COVID, and he got snookered by you.
Amy Davis says she paid Corey Dyer $5,000 to market her beauty pageant coaching program. Amy claims Corey barely did anything.
What I want you to do is show me what you did for her between October 1st, 2018 and today. What you did for her, what your marketing company did for her, how it prepared. Just show me. Put up one at a time.
Okay, so here's the first one. We were prepped and ready to have her come in and to start filming her. She said that she got...
I'm not interested in text messages. I want to see your marketing campaign.
So you want to see the logo that we created? You want to see the logo that we created for her? Is that specific?
That would be a start. That would be a start. Take off the texts and show me a logo that you prepared for her.
You know what, Your Honor? I did not bring a copy of the logo.
For the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000 for her refund. We're done here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
Oh my gosh.
You can't doubt Judge Judy. I mean, as a judge, I agree that she knows what she's doing. She's been doing this for a long time.
This has been a long time coming. I'm so grateful. I feel like...
I didn't come prepared. That was on my end. I didn't come prepared with the logos and the things that we did with Amy.
Justice was finally served. Judge Judy was able to catch...
And so that's my bad. I truly wish Amy the very best, though.
Corey Dyer and many lies.
No, she was never pleased with anything. That was the problem.
But it just definitely wasn't the match for me.
All parties in the matter of Mushka versus Hallman approach the podium.
Michelle Mushka is suing Dennis and Brenda Hallman for the return of a deposit on a beauty salon and the return of stolen property.
Well, let me start with you, Miss Hallman. How long did you and your husband own this beauty salon?
5, almost 6 years.
And do you rent the space from someone?
I do. I rent the building.
From whom?
Bill is the owner of the building.
How much rent do you pay, or did you pay?
The first year it started out at $1,500.
And what was it in 2019?
$1,750.
Were you current in your rent at the time that you sold the salon to the plaintiff?
4 months behind on rent.
So far, you had a broken lease, and according to what I read in the complaint, you had not maintained your filing status with the state, correct?
I had a business.
That's either a yes or a no?
Yes.
So the asset that you were selling was what?
Was all the assets that were inside the salon.
What is that?
The mirrors, the chairs, the stations, the furniture, the decorations.
The renters, the people that
rented. Now, I didn't ask you anything.
I was helping her out.
I didn't ask you anything.
Thank you.
Don't help her unless I ask you a question. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
And the landlord, and I was selling the agreement from the landlord to the purchaser.
Did Bill tell you he was going to evict you if you didn't pay rent?
No, not at all.
Well, what's the reason for your not paying rent for 4 months?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Why didn't you give her her money back?
She didn't ask for it back. She also stated that, I doubt you have it. She said, so I want everything that you have to do with this business. She wouldn't take her money back.
What are you, crazy?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Michelle Mushka says Dennis and Brenda Hallman.
What's the reason for your not paying rent for 4 months?
I had a business partner, and she decided to fall in love with a military man, and she left the state. And so I was left to take over and pay everything on my own when she used to pay for half of everything. So I talked to the landlord.
Well, did you pay half your rent?
Yes, I did pay partial payments to Bill, and we made agreements that...
How much is partial payment? Let's go. I just want to know.
You know, there was $800, there was $400, there was $200. It just depended on the week and how much I was making at the moment. And my landlord was extremely
This is what
helpful.
the case is about. You agreed to sell the assets of a place that you were behind in rent on that was not a legitimate salon because the license hadn't been maintained for a couple of years. You agreed to sell that to the plaintiff for the sum of $10,000. She gave you a $5,000 deposit. We all agree that she gave you a $5,000 deposit. That's what she wants back. Now, are you back in the salon?
No, I'm not.
Well, are you not back in the salon because of COVID? You don't seem to indicate to me that you were not back to work in January.
I was back to work in January in the salon. And
January?
Then, yes.
Right. And you were back to work in February in the salon. You were back to work until they closed the salons because of COVID.
Correct.
Until the state of Washington State, until they closed down all the salons.
I sold my assets to the building owner, which was Bill.
Just a second. So Bill bought your salon?
He bought everything that was inside the salon.
How much did Mr. pay you for the contents of the salon, other than for giving you your rent?
It was the next 2 years' worth of lease. He let me out of that as well.
What do you mean as well? As well as what?
He let me out of the contract.
And
he forgave any
And
payments.
he took, just a second, and he took possession of all the furniture. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, most of it. Mirrors, stations, roller carts.
So he took that because he knew he wasn't going to get any money from you.
No, he wanted to leave it there so that he could then, in turn, rent it out.
Well, that was a bad deal. I think I have a feeling that Bill got snookered. He got snookered by COVID, and he got snookered by you.
Not by me.
Why didn't you give her money back?
Because she told me
she gave you $5,000.
She wanted the salon. She didn't ask for it back. She also stated that I doubt you have it.
Just don't say anything.
She said, so I want everything that you have to do with this business.
Sure.
She wouldn't take her money back.
Just a second. You sold it to somebody. What are you, crazy?
I'm not crazy.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
You mean so you sold what she bought to somebody else and kept her money?
This was his idea. He came to me. I have a text message also that this was his, that he stated to me. This was his idea.
You hadn't paid rent to him then, by that time, for 5 months, and certainly weren't going to pay him for March, April, May, June, July, because all salons were closed in Washington State.
Right.
So he said, well, give me what you got. I mean, I can't get blood from a turnip, so I'm going to take over everything, and I'll let you out of your lease, and so I won't sue you for the back rent for 2 years, and goodbye and good luck. Is he a friend of yours?
The back rent was for 4 months. And
is he a friend of yours, is my question.
Not. I would say acquaintance, but not a friend. We don't have barbecues together.
He's an acquaintance. You have to give her back a deposit. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. We're done. You see, you didn't have to say a word. Goodbye.
Pardons are excused.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
The horse's legs were bitten. Yes. The pit bull was the precipitant. You can't.
Next Judge Judy.
I'm thankful for her decision on this case. It's been a long time that we've had to deal with this, and I'm just thankful for it. Thank you, Judge Judy.
Her fortune.
You came into some money.
About $100,000.
His opportunity.
You discussed flipping houses, going into business with him.
But their partnership.
How much did he put in?
$0.
Was far from fair.
She bought you out of the house. You're ahead $30,000 from nothing.
This is Judge Judy.
Gabrielle Corriette is suing her former friend, Alberto Alberti, for an unpaid loan to pay child support.
Order. All rise. It's case 442 on the calendar, the matter of Corriette versus Alberti. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Mr. Alberti, how do you know the plaintiff?
I used to throw like a Latin party in Spokane, Washington, and she was, that's how we met.
And what do you do now?
I'm a barber and I'm a DJ.
You have children?
Yes.
How many?
3.
How old are they?
10, 8, and 2.5.
And who do they live with?
They live with their mom. It's like half and half, pretty much.
Where does their mother live?
In the same town, Spokane, Washington.
Does she work?
Yes.
Are you under a child support order?
Yes.
How much?
It's $430.
How often?
It's once a month.
And how long have you been under the child support order?
Since they were born.
So you never lived with their mother?
I did.
Well, then somebody was cheating somebody. Because if you were living with their mother since they were born, why would you be under a child support order?
We separated when my child was recently born. So her mom suggested her, and I feel like she did it pretty much out of spite. You know what I mean? Because...
I don't know what you mean. You said 8, 10, and 2.5. So is what you're telling me you separated when the youngest child was born?
Yes, my oldest.
Okay. And since then, you've been under a child support order?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do the children get any sort of government aid?
I don't know exactly what that means.
Welfare, assistance?
No.
Are you sure?
I'm not 100%.
Was there a time when you were in arrears of your child support order?
Yes. Like about $4,000.
How did you know it was about $4,000?
Because I looked into it before we purchased the house.
Did anybody contact you about taking your driver's license away?
No, they didn't.
Do you file tax returns?
Yes, I did.
Did anybody ever take your refund if you were due one?
No.
So you knew the plaintiff and you came into some money?
Yes, ma'am.
How much money did you come into?
About $100,000.
And there had been a time when you and the defendant were involved in a romantic relationship.
Briefly, yes.
And then just friends.
Yes, Your Honor.
And after you came into this money, you discussed, according to you, flipping houses, going into business with him.
Yes, Your Honor.
But when you went to buy the first house to flip, couldn't buy it because he had this outstanding child support debt.
Yes, Your Honor. And I had already put $2,000 to hold the house.
Care about the house. Now, in order to get rid of that $4,000 worth of debt, what did you do?
He came to me and asked if I would pay the debt for him, and once the house sold, he would pay me back.
Does that sound familiar to you?
Yes, Your Honor.
So what I'd like you to do is tell me now, because I don't have to get into the whole mess of she finally brought you out of the house. She gave you $26,000.
Right. Yes, Your Honor.
So what I'd like you to tell me is how much money you put into the house.
Approximately $15,000.
$15,000?
Yes, Your Honor.
So let me see. You put in 15, is that right?
No, Your Honor.
How much did he put in?
0, because there was a $20,000 holdback fund for renovations on the house, which he withdrew from to pay the contractors.
Do you have any proof that you put in $15,000?
I do not have any proof right now, but I gave it to her. And since the house was sold, I actually got rid of the evidence. But I had it all, the expensive that I spent.
That doesn't do anything for me.
Okay.
Nothing. So let me see. She bought you out of the house for $26,000. And in addition to the $26,000 that she bought you out of the house for, she gave you another $4,000 to pay off your child support. That's $30,000. And you got nothing there standing there but a reasonably good-looking face, a smile, and what you think is charming. You see, I don't find any of that charming. I find that just to be a taker and a slug. Now, she had no pleasure out of making these 3 children. These were your 3 children. They're your responsibility to pay child support for. The fact that you're a DJ and a barber and primarily in a cash business and don't pay your taxes, which you don't, you earn. So you're sort of slippery, so they can't attach your salary because you don't get a salary. That's why your arrears went up to $4,000, because otherwise they just scoop in and they attach it. So you're a slippery slug who took advantage of somebody
I'm trying to buy my time over here and not say anything.
Who had come into some money. So far, you're ahead of the game $30,000. $4,000 of it was for child support. I haven't heard how much money you made. How much money did you make so far on this adventure with him?
Yeah, I didn't make any money on the house, and if I were to sell it today, I would still take a loss.
That's a lie.
Well, I don't know that because it hasn't been sold yet, but so far, she hasn't made any money, and you're ahead $30,000.
Okay, so pretty much how everything started up is the offer was presented to me.
I'm just asking you, is that a yes or a no? So far, you're ahead $30,000 on this deal because she came into some money.
How can I be ahead when the house is worth more than $3,000 now, and the house was only bought in $190,000, and she wanted to keep the house, not me. So she bought me out to keep the house.
So far, you're ahead $30,000 from nothing. You didn't do anything.
I did
Somebody else paid your child support for your 3 children, plus she bought you out of a house because your name was on the paperwork with her. So in order to get your name off the paperwork, because she probably figured you were a slug, finally got through her brain that you were a slug, she bought you out for $26,000. All I'm saying is you're ahead $30,000 from nothing. That's a very good investment. If I could put in 0 and come out $30,000 in a period of a year,
yes, Your Honor,
that's a pretty good investment. Go take a look at the stock market today.
For a second, I thought I was going to be able to defend myself.
$4,000. That's what you owe her. She's not paying your child support. You pay your own child support. Judgment for the plaintiff, $4,000. We're done here.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
To keep a house, it costs $300,000 for $190,000. I mean, come on.
he wasn't doing work. He wasn't putting any money into the house.
That's why she wanted to buy me out.
He was going to walk away with all the money that I had loaned him.
She came over here crying, saying like, yo, I want to keep this house.
And now I have nothing to show for it.
Absolutely not. Took advantage of her, man.
Yes, lesson learned.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Calhoun versus Hernandez. Step forward.
Amanda Calhoun is suing Maribel Hernandez for vet bills after Maribel's stray pit bull.
Calhoun, you're a very nice person.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Sometimes bad things happen to very nice people. So this is basically what the case is about. This is your little dog.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you found a stray dog. When did you find the stray dog?
On December 31st, around 1 a.m.
Where was it?
He wandered into my front yard, Your Honor.
Where do you live?
I live in Pomona. It's not the best neighborhood, Your Honor, so...
So you took the dog inside?
I put him in my backyard after feeding him. Initially, it was just, we're in the front yard.
What kind of dog?
It's like a pit bull mix, Your Honor.
First clue. What happened was you ultimately took the dog in. It had a chip, and it was chipped to the defendant.
Yes, Your Honor.
You contacted her, had a conversation, and when you had a conversation with her, did she at any time tell you that the dog wasn't hers?
No, Your Honor.
Did she tell you she would come and get the dog?
Yes, Your Honor.
But in the meantime, you let the dog stay in the house with your dog.
Yes, Your Honor.
Big mistake. And your dog and this pit bull mix got into a fight over food.
Yes, Your Honor.
I assume your little dog went over to bigger dog's food dish?
Not exactly, Your Honor. We fed them separately to try to prevent something like this. So we fed the bigger dog fighting over.
Whose leftover food?
The small
the little
dog, Your
ones.
Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
And your dog was seriously injured?
Yes, Your Honor. Brutally, seriously injured.
You want the defendant to be responsible for the vet bills?
Yes, Your Honor.
How much are the vet bills?
$2,152.90, Your Honor.
When did you get this dog?
I got him in 2017, in May.
From where did you get the dog?
I got him off of Craigslist from a family.
How old was the dog when you got him?
He was 3 months old.
So you had the dog for several years?
Yes.
Who else lives in your home?
At the moment, my fiance lives with me.
Do you work?
I work, yes.
Who watches the dog during the day?
My fiance.
He doesn't work?
No.
Stand up. How did the dog get out on December 31st?
I wasn't there around that month. I had just got there.
What does that mean? You weren't there around that month?
You said September?
No, December.
December. I wasn't around until she had picked up the dog.
So...
Don't speak. I don't want to hear you.
Yes.
Where were you on December 31st?
At home.
Where was the dog?
At her house.
You mean at the plaintiff's house?
Yes, I lived separately.
At the time.
So you weren't watching the dog?
And that she had given the dog.
What?
So I had
given... No, I don't want to hear you. Do you understand?
Yes.
At all?
Yes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
If I saw a pit bull mix in my front yard, I would not bring it into my house with my 3 Shih Tzus.
She wouldn't have her dog right now if I didn't take her dog in.
What I'm telling you, I would not take a pit bull into my house that I found on the street.
Amanda Calhoun says after she took in a stray pit bull owned by Maribel Hernandez, the dog attacked and maimed her Chihuahua.
Now, when did you and Miss Hernandez start to live together? In what month and year? Look at me. In what month and year did you and Miss Hernandez start to live together?
January 15th of this year.
Prior to that time, Miss Hernandez was living alone?
Yes.
Do you know who was watching the dog?
No, Your Honor.
Did you ever discuss, since you don't work, did you ever discuss with her who was watching the dog?
No, Your Honor.
Well, before you moved in, you must have seen the dog, right?
Yes.
Well, you don't think it would come up in conversation? What do you do with the dog during the day when you're working?
We had just gotten together.
What month had you just gotten together?
January 15th.
What do you mean you just got together? You mean you just got together and moved in?
No, in the beginning of January we did. And I decided to stay there because I just moved from Michigan. So I decided to stay there.
Stay where?
At her place.
Beginning of January?
15th, yes.
How did you meet her?
We went to high school together.
So were you communicating online or on telephone?
In person, online, yes.
Well, prior to moving in on January 15th, when was the time immediately preceding that time that you saw her?
It was the week prior to her picking up the dog.
What do you mean the week prior?
When she went to go pick up Zeus from the plaintiff a week before that day, that's when I moved in with her. And she told me everything that had happened with the dog. I had no knowledge of anything until we picked up the dog.
Did you go together to pick up the dog? And what did she tell you about the dog when you went to pick the dog up?
She couldn't financially after her separation with her husband before me.
So she was married?
Yes, ma'am.
Is she still married?
Yes, ma'am.
And when did she and her husband separate?
I have no knowledge.
So she said after she and her husband separated?
She was working full-time and by herself, couldn't financially take care of a dog with it at home by himself.
She couldn't financially take care of the dog.
So
what did she do?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I believe her that she had thought she had found a home and gave the dog to somebody else.
Well, she should have given me their information when we called her and asked her who the dog belonged to instead of taking ownership for it. Maybe they would have picked the dog up and it wouldn't have had the time to attack my dog.
Maybe. There are a lot of maybes.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Amanda Calhoun says after she took in a stray pit bull owned by Maribel Hernandez, the dog attacked and maimed her Chihuahua.
She couldn't financially take care of the dog.
So
what did she do?
The same thing how she had got him. She put him on Craigslist to try to find a good home. And once she did, because of what I know, when she found a good home, she took the dog to the gentleman, and they waited a while they got to know each other and play along, and, you know, then they went their separate ways. And
you mean from this gentleman?
From the gentleman
on
that
Craigslist?
Yes.
When did you find the gentleman on Craigslist?
November 11th.
Do you have his name?
No, ma'am, I don't quite remember.
Do you remember where he lived?
I didn't ask him where he lived.
Well, how did he get the dog?
We met up, and I made sure that he got along with
Where
Zeus.
did you meet up?
Somewhere by my house. I didn't feel comfortable having someone come to my house. So we met up at a park by my house.
And he said he would take the dog?
Yes, and Zeus really liked him.
Where's the dog now?
I have him.
Are you going to keep him?
Yes, now that I have help and after everything that happened. Because I contacted this person after she told me that he was found. And I said, hey, I gave you this dog. He's been found on the streets. What's going on? And their first question was like, oh, what city did you find him in? And I'm like, what do you mean, what city? What city do you live in? That you're wondering what city he's in. And I said, well, do you still want him? And they were like, oh, yeah. And I didn't really trust it. I just said, I'll get back to you when I'm updated. And they never tried to reach out to me, and I didn't trust it. So I just said, I'll figure it out and keep him.
Miss Calhoun.
Yes, Your Honor.
You're a very nice lady.
Thank you, Your Honor.
The defendant isn't responsible for your vet bills. It's unfortunate, but she's not responsible for your vet bills. She actually wouldn't even be responsible for your vet bills if it was her dog, but I actually believe that she was not a very, very good caretaker. She probably had miserable judgment in giving the dog to this person, but she was, too, going through a difficult period. So she probably, if she had more time, she might have investigated further into the character of the person she was giving the dog to. But this is pretty good advice. As a dog owner, I have small dogs. If I saw pit bull mix in my front yard, I would not bring it into my house with my 3 Shih Tzus.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
If I saw pit bull mix in my front yard, I would not bring it into my house with my 3 Shih Tzus.
I understand that, Your Honor, but at the time it was a holiday. I had nowhere to take him. I couldn't even call the Humane Society. Everything was closed. So it was either let him continue on the street or...
No, then you leave him outside and you keep your dog separated from until the holiday is over.
I tried my best to keep them separated, Your Honor, and she took full ownership for the dog the entire time. She never once told me that she gave them away. I even had to take the dog back to her. I drove the dog to her.
What I'm telling you is, you took the dog into your house.
I understand that, Your Honor. Trying to reunite it with its owner.
At the time, she had thought she had found a home in November and gave the dog to somebody else.
Well, she should have given me their information when we called her and asked her who the dog belonged to instead of taking ownership for it. Maybe they would have picked the dog up. And it wouldn't have had the time to attack my dog.
Maybe. There are a lot of maybes. But mostly the maybe is, maybe you should have let the dog stay in your yard.
And get hit by a car, Your Honor? Or there's a lot of gang violence. Someone would have taken him in. And she wouldn't have her dog right now if I didn't take her dog in and do the right thing, Your Honor.
I'm telling you, you look like a very nice lady. You did a very nice thing. Unfortunately, what I'm telling you, I, who have little dogs, would not take a pit bull into my house that I found on the street.
I understand that, Your Honor.
I wouldn't. I would keep it in a garage.
I kept him outside. The only reason he was in the house at the time is because we were home. They were never once alone by themselves.
Okay, Miss Calhoun, you're not following me. I've made my decision. That's the law. If you do a good deed, and it was clearly a good deed, but you allowed the 2 dogs to be together with food around. You fed them separately, but there was still food around.
They
That's
had just
what they fought
eating.
Goodbye, Miss Calhoun. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
It was a sweetheart deal for his girlfriend.
You left and you left.
I did not get a free ride.
Free ride. Free ride.
Judge Judy.
She still has her dog back, only because I did the right thing by taking the dog in.
I'm very grateful to her to pick him up.
If I'd not taken the dog in, he'd probably be dead right now or in the pound.
I tried to do the right thing in picking him up and making sure he didn't go back to an irresponsible owner.
Couldn't get through. We couldn't get through with anyone. The best thing I could do was take him to the vet, which I did, found his chip, got a hold of his owner.
I do think it was her fault for bringing the dog in.
I tried to stop it. I couldn't stop it for fear of getting bit myself.
And she had told me that her dog started the fight.
He just got in between the big dog and his food bowl trying to protect his own food. The dog attacked him.
Even though it was a smaller dog.
So we rushed him to the hospital. They did what they could, but...
I absolutely feel really bad that, that happened to her dog.
It probably won't change. I'll probably still try to help animals because that's just who I am.
And, that my dog had to go through that ordeal because who knows what happened to him.
It's not the dogs, it's the owners.
She said you wore the items and you re-tagged them.
Controversy in her consignment shop.
You had them cleaned and you put them back on the rack.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't like that.
Then a style...
Someone was arrested. That would be you.
This is Judge Judy.
Victoria Paul is suing her former friend, C.C. Rocker, for the return of clothes she was selling on consignment, a false arrest, and harassment.
Order. All rise. It's case number 462 on the calendar in the matter of Paul versus Rocker.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Judge parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Ms. Paul, this is short version of what I see in the complaint and the answer. You gave on consignment some designer clothes to the defendant who had a shop.
Correct.
And you were in close proximity to her shop.
Well, I was upstairs. She was downstairs.
Give me the month and year that you gave her the clothes.
July 2019.
And then you say that you saw either the defendant or some other people wearing the clothes that you had given her on consignment.
Correct.
And then having them cleaned and putting them back on for sale.
Correct.
You didn't like that. And you were upstairs. So you went downstairs on what date?
I didn't go downstairs. I sent her an email after I requested the payout information.
You did go downstairs to retrieve your clothes.
Correct.
On what date was it that you went downstairs to retrieve your clothes?
Probably a week after our agreement.
So you went downstairs, and tell me what happened when you went downstairs.
Well, it was prelude to our email. I went downstairs in response to the email of her telling me to come and get my things because she was upset that I had basically outed her on saying I've seen items that I was not paid for on other people on social media, including yourself. And these items were not in the payout agreement, but they're here being worn or sold by others. And my things are so limited, I know what belonged to my store.
Got it. So you told her you wanted them back.
Correct, or payout for it.
Well, she wasn't giving you the payout, so you went downstairs to get your clothes.
Correct.
And that was also in July. So you go downstairs, you grab your clothes, and you took them upstairs.
But not everything.
Most of the stuff.
Correct.
She got mad and came to where you were.
Correct.
To get her hangers. Because when you took the clothes, you took them on the hangers. So she wanted her hangers back. And that's when the fight took place.
Yes.
And as a result of this fight, someone was arrested.
Correct.
That would be you.
Yes.
And you were arrested for assault?
Simple battery. Dropped. It was never moved forward with the DA's office.
So there were no charges ever filed?
Correct.
You never appeared before a judge?
Correct.
Or did you appear before a judge?
No.
Was there a protective order issued?
No.
So what you are seeking now is for the value of the clothes, some of which have already been worn.
Correct.
For a false arrest.
Correct.
And I don't know what the harassment is. She has a counterclaim for the money owed for an assault and defamation. Okay, let's deal with that first. You're upstairs getting your hangers back.
Correct, as well as the garment that she wanted me to pay for, the duster that I was wearing. I went to retrieve both the hangers and the duster.
The what?
It's called a duster. It's like a cardigan.
I
went to retrieve the cardigan and hangers from her store upstairs.
Why that cardigan?
Because she requested that when I send her payout information to include it, when she came to pick up the clothing, she actually took it with her. So I said, okay, return that with the hangers, and we'll get this all squared away.
Miss Rocker, did you ever pay her for any of the things that she gave you on consignment? Did you ever pay her any money?
No, ma'am.
Okay. She's going to show me pictures of either you or you and other people wearing you on consignment to sell.
Well,
Just a second. Now, did you allow other people to wear clothing that she had given you on consignment to sell? That's either a yes or a no.
That's correct.
So that's a yes. Now, when she gave you the clothing to sell on consignment, it was new, correct?
Not the thing that the designer wore was not new.
Just a second. Are you saying that all but one item was new?
One of the items, correct.
All but one of the items was new?
A few of them had stains, so I can't tell if they were new or not. But of the items that we're speaking upon, one was not new, but the others were.
Were new?
Correct.
Once you wore them, or somebody else wore them,
correct,
you understand that they're no longer new.
I do understand that.
So that they lose value.
Exactly. That's why you would put them on sale.
Just a second. That they lose value.
Correct.
Now, did you have written authorization from her to take her new items that she had given you to sell, make them used items, and then try to sell them? Did you have that in writing from her. Just a second. Don't talk. Show me the contract. Then the answer is yes. Show me the contract. I want you to circle in the contract where it says that the items can be worn, and therefore circle in the contract where it says that the items can be worn and then returned to inventory and therefore must be sold as old or used. Just circle in the contract. It doesn't say that at all.
Well, it states that
it doesn't say that at all.
Her property to make that decision.
No. It doesn't say that you can wear it. Doesn't say, I don't know what you underline. All inventory provided to the store will now be considered the property of Created Risk Boutique for at least 30 days.
Correct.
To you, that means that you can wear it and sell it as used?
Well, no, that wasn't what I was stating at all.
Just listen. Hey, you have a contract that permits you to take new merchandise, make it used merchandise by wearing it, or allow others to wear it for whatever purpose, whether you say it's for advertising, whatever it is. Do you have a contract that says that? You just underlined this. This is not what it says at all.
Well, I'm not necessarily negating that part of the claim.
Fine, very good. Then she owes you for the value of the clothing. What's the value of the clothing?
$32.56.
Let me see the items, please.
The inventory list, and then here's the part.
Would she be able to return that item as well?
This is the inventory.
Some of it. It didn't all fit in her inventory control thing, and when she came into my store, I manually wrote it by hand.
Okay. Now what I'd like you to show me or tell me is about the assault that you were arrested on.
Okay, so the day that she came in...
You go upstairs to get your hangers. And?
Well, Victoria sent me an email stating for me to come upstairs and grab the hangers and the duster from her. I walk upstairs, and as soon as I walk in, I was on the phone with my mother. She tells me to get off the phone with my mother so that we can have a conversation. I told her I left it unlocked. At that time, Victoria begins to get irate and tell me she's not going to give me back any hangers or anything at all. So once she gets irate, I immediately turn around and say, you know what, I'm getting out of here. My mom's in the phone. She's like, get out of there right away.
Don't tell me what your mother said.
But right away, I go to get out of the store. Victoria had huge sliding glass doors on her store. She tries to close them to keep me in the store. When she couldn't get them closed, she stands in front of me and starts pushing me back in the store, telling me that I'm not going anywhere, that this is her store, she's not giving me anything, I'm messing with the wrong girl now. And then from that point forward, we start fighting.
Okay, so she pushed you.
She pushes me. She's standing in front of me.
Just a second. She pushed you. And what was the next thing that happened?
She grabbed my hair.
She pushed you?
Well, we kind of were pushing each other because she was standing in front of me, you know.
She pushed you. You pushed her.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing that happened?
She grabbed my hair and started yanking it. And we started fighting.
Okay. When you were fighting, describe what's fighting.
We were literally fighting all over her store, like from this side to that side.
Standing up.
We were falling over the ground, tussling, pretty much all over the store. People were walking by, but no one ever stopped.
Okay. Now, I'd like that you had.
I have the police report.
I'd like to see a report.
Well, it tells the injuries that they visibly saw as well as their medical.
Right. And then I would like to see the medical reports that you have.
I actually didn't get the opportunity to go to the...
Not actually. Did you go to a hospital?
I did not.
Did you go to seek medical attention?
I seek the medical attention right then on the scene.
All right. So the answer is no.
Oh, yeah, no, I didn't go to the doctor.
All right, then just say no.
Oh, sorry.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
Let me explain to you. If you went to buy a car, you would be making car payments, right?
Yes,
that would be correct. So let's just get some dates so you feel less terrible when you leave here.
Victoria Paul says, former friend, Cece Rocker, owes for the return of clothes, a false arrest, and harassment. Cece is countersuing for assault, harassment, and defamation.
Okay, so far you owe her $3,256. Who's Watson?
I'm Watson. That is my legal name. I'm going by my professional name today.
But your name is Watson.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you're Watson.
Of course.
Okay, so the police officer noticed carpet burns on both of your knees, and she said that you had scratches to your face and arms. That's why she was arrested. Now, there's no question in my mind that she was annoying and you prevented her from leaving because you wanted to talk to her about the clothes and what she owed you because they were worn. There's no question about that. There's no question in my mind that both of you acted badly on that day because your recourse is to come to court and sue her for the clothes, which you're absolutely entitled to, not to have an altercation with her. And Miss Rocker Watson, or whatever your name is, if she wants to talk to you and you go up there with your headphones on talking to your mother and say, I'm not talking to you about the clothes that I actually stole from you.
We actually had just had a conversation.
I actually stole.
We had a conversation previous before I ever went up to her store in my store earlier.
Absolutely did not.
Just a second. And what was the conversation?
The conversation was about the clothing. These are actually the payout reports for the clothing that we had. We were speaking about her not trusting. And I was telling her, no, it's not an issue of you not trusting me or anything like that. And as we continued the conversation, she says, you stole my idea. So that's when I said, you know what, let's go ahead and dissolve our agreement. But went about it, and I explained to her about advertising and et cetera.
So, what you explained about to her. What I'm telling you is you took her new clothes, you made them old clothes, and you had no right to do that.
I understand.
Well, evidently not. Because what I'm telling you is there are certain things that make sense and certain things that don't make sense.
Correct.
You went upstairs to get your hangers, and you told the police that she told you to come upstairs to get your hangers.
Correct.
Right? But she also wanted to talk to you.
She didn't say that in the email.
But when you got up there...
She was very aggressive.
She didn't give a rat's behind about your hangers. You cared about your hangers.
Well, I also wanted the cardigan back so that I could pay her for it.
Yeah, she didn't care about your hangers.
She wanted to talk
about $3,000 worth of merchandise.
No, she did not. Her inventory is there. It's about $1,000 in total if she would have sold every single thing.
I wouldn't trust you.
She went through it before.
I wouldn't trust you to sell stuff on consignment if what you did with her clothes was wear them, not only you, but other people. Wear them, you had them cleaned, and you put them back on the rack.
But she did not ask to leave the store. I asked her to leave.
Fine. Now you have one opportunity to tell me about defamation.
The defamation. With the defamation, once
don't speak.
You don't want me to tell you?
Don't speak. Yeah, well, she put this on. She said, you wore the items and you re-tagged them. That's true. And then, I don't know what this is.
That is actually from the witness statement.
I don't know what this is.
That's a message that she actually posted in December saying that I'm a con artist and a scammer and things like that. She posted that
Just a second, I gave you thousands of dollars of inventory to sell. Bare store with no money up front. You'd rather wear the clothes and dry clean and put them back on for sale. Shame on you. That's not defamation. It's all true.
That I'm a scammer and a con artist?
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,256. We're finished. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
The only reason it turned into this is because Victoria attacked me.
We won the case, and that's all I really wanted was justice for my store.
Some people, they just can't help when you do better than them.
Do not judge a book by its cover. She looked slim and sweet, but she was the snake and sour.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Walsh versus Mackey. Step forward.
Kirsten Walsh is suing her former roommate, Christopher Mackey, for the return of money for a car.
So, Miss Walsh, this is relatively simple. You and the defendant lived together, another car, you needed a car, and according to you, you made arrangements with him that you would take over the payments on his old car, and once you finished paying off the loan on the car, he would transfer the title to you.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you drove the car, you're going to tell me for how long, and then the two of you broke up. and you took the car. He said, I want my car back because car's in my name. If you have an accident, I'm responsible. If you get a ticket, I'm responsible. If you hit somebody, I'm responsible. And now we're not a couple anymore, right?
That is correct, Your Honor.
And you said, no, I've been making payments on this car, and I want you to give me back all the money that I paid for the car.
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, that's ridiculous.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
My question to you is, do you want to give him $10,000? If that's what's left on the loan, you pay him $10,000, he'll give you the car. Am I correct?
Absolutely, Your Honor.
Absolutely. Your choice.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Kirsten Walsh is suing her former roommate, Christopher Mackey, for the return of money for a car.
Let me explain to you. If you went to buy a car, you would be making car payments, right?
Yes, Your
That
Honor.
would be correct. And you'd have to put down a down payment. That would also be correct. Payment, did he?
No, Your Honor.
No. Okay. So let's just get some dates so you feel less terrible when you leave here. From when to when did you live together?
We moved in together, Your Honor, in October of 2019.
And when did you leave?
I moved out on December 31st.
And when did you make this arrangement with the car?
It was in September of 2019.
How many car payments did you make?
I made 5 car payments, Your Honor.
And how much was each of the car payments?
$400.
Before you took over the car payments from him, did you own a vehicle?
Yes, Your Honor.
What kind of car?
2014 Jeep Cherokee.
What did you do with it?
I was driving it when it was working. When it was non-operational, I was driving the Hyundai.
Well, where is it now?
It's operational at this time, Your Honor, and I've been driving it.
So what you're telling me is you kept 2 cars?
Yes, Your Honor.
What did you do, get it fixed?
Yes, Your Honor. I've been paying for the repairs on my Jeep.
Okay, well, that's a good idea. Now, the Jeep you bought for cash?
I've been making payments on it monthly. I have it financed through Chrysler Finance.
Good. And how much are your car payments on the Jeep?
$650 a month.
So $400 a month, you understand $400 a month would be a bargain.
Yes.
Right. So why would you think if you drove his car for 5 months that you're entitled to all the money back?
Closed captioning sponsored by.
Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, what's left on the car?
I still owe about $10,000, Your Honor.
Do you want to give him $10,000? My question to you is, do you want to give him $10,000? If that's what's left on the loan, you pay him $10,000, he'll give you the car. Am I correct?
Absolutely, Your Honor.
Absolutely. It's up to you. Your choice. He doesn't want you to pay off the car, and I absolutely believe he's 100% right. He doesn't want any responsibility. You're not a couple anymore. If you have an accident, if you drop the insurance, whatever it is, he doesn't want to just be a lien holder on this car. He wants it out of his name. Do you want to give him, in order to fulfill the contract, $10,000 now?
At this point, no, Your Honor.
Then your case is dismissed. We're done. Thank you very much.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Their dog reached the fence and bit our dog on the nose.
Pictures speak louder than words.
What the defendants have here is compelling evidence to me.
Next Judge Judy.
Now I don't have the money that I put in to purchase the car, nor do I have a car.
I feel that the judgment was fair.
Our relationship fell apart after I caught him in lies.
It's handled, and I can move on.
Don't trust men.
Be careful who you trust, and don't let anyone take advantage of it.
She asked for time to pay.
You tell the stranger, I only have $1,000 to give you down. Can I make payments on the other $2,000?
But time ran out.
You took the car. You still have the car. And you didn't pay her the balance.
No, ma'am, I did not.
So give her the car back. She'll give you the $1,000 back.
I asked her if she would take the car back. She said no.
Judge Judy, she's not telling you the whole truth.
This is Judge Judy. Carol Althoff is suing Tracy Johnson for the unpaid balance on a car she sold her.
Judge, this is case number 16 on the calendar in the matter of Althoff versus Johnson. Parties have been sworn in. Sir, you may be seated.
Miss Althoff, You sold a car to the defendant. What kind of car was it that you sold?
It's a 2008 Volkswagen Jetta.
It didn't belong to you. It belonged to one of your kids.
Yes, it was my daughter's car. I was just the co-owner on the title.
How did you find the car?
I found the car.
And it was a 12-year-old car. You negotiated a price, correct, with the plaintiff, and the price was $3,000. Is that right?
Yes.
So, Miss Johnson, this is your problem. You bought a 12-year-old car for an agreed price of $3,000. Then you tell this perfect stranger, I only have $1,000 to give you down. Can I make payments on the other $2,000? She agreed. So far, am I correct?
Yes.
You took the car. You still have the car.
Yes.
And you didn't pay her the balance of $2,000.
No, ma'am, I did not. There's a reason why I did not, though.
Why did you think? Yeah, you said you spent a lot of money on it and you couldn't get it smogged. Is that right?
That is correct.
So give her the car back. She'll give you the $1,000 back.
I tried to give her the car back.
Else.
I tried to give Lauren, the person who I was dealing with, her daughter, the car back. The second day that I had it, I asked her if she would take the car back. She said no. Her father came to my door, and I asked him if he would take the car back, and he said
Just
no.
a second. All right, listen to me. They may have said no. Now we're in court. Okay. And now I'm telling you, you can't keep the car. You have to give it back to her. They'll give you back your $1,000. They'll sell it to somebody else.
Judge Judy, she's not telling you the whole truth.
Listen, I'm here to make things quick and easy. She can't have the car and not pay for it. She doesn't want the car. She can't use the car. According to her, she's put in some money into the car. Brakes and, well, that's her problem. I don't care about that. Then she was silly enough to do that before she had the whole thing tested and everything else. That's her problem. So you're getting back your car with new brakes. And what else did you do to the car?
I'd had the two back tires changed.
And you have 2 new tires.
I know my daughter doesn't want the car back.
I don't care. She couldn't get the car smogged. That's what she says.
Well, the story with the smogging...
And you live in the state of California.
Yes, we do.
You can't sell a car in the state of California that can't be smogged.
What my daughter had arranged with her...
I don't care.
And, well,
it doesn't matter to me.
Well, she had arranged with the defendant that she had told her, I haven't had the car smogged, and I need to get it smogged. And this is the reason why, was because she had had some work done on the car, and when the car, they took it to be smogged, they said it wasn't ready, because when you unplug the battery, you have to wait with this particular car.
Listen, you're not paying attention to me, and I'm not hearing you. Now, you are A, not a mechanic. B, you can't tell me what she arranged with your daughter. That's hearsay. C, I'm here to resolve this matter. You're getting back a better car than you sold to her a couple of months ago. I assume you didn't take any cross-country trips because you couldn't drive the car. Title to the car?
No, I never got the title to the car.
We gave her the title to the car, Judge.
Is it registered in your name?
No, it is not.
Because she did not go register it.
In whose name? Shh! Hey, listen to me. If you speak out again, I'm going to just dismiss your case. Do you understand that?
Yes,
This is not a party that we're at. In whose name is the car registered?
I believe it's Lauren's.
You never took it to DMV?
No, I didn't.
To change the title?
No, I went to DMV, but they told me that I couldn't register it because it didn't pass smog. It needed a smog certificate. So when I went to the smog place, it can't pass smog.
So the only person who's on the title is her daughter? And you?
I'm not sure.
And her?
And her, I think so. I think.
But you're not on the title?
No.
Very good.
Your Honor,
what?
May my witness testify to something?
You're getting the car back. That's it. You're getting the car back. And she gets the money that she put in. She paid you how much? $1,000?
Yes.
Right. That's what she gets back. Then she'll go buy another car and you'll find somebody else to sell this to, understanding that it did not pass smog twice. And if there are any specific directions that you need to tell somebody that you have to dance around it, click your heels 3 times and say, I want to go to Oz before you try to re-smog it, you'll give them those instructions. Right now, she's giving you back the car. She gets a $1,000 deposit back. You're getting a car with Judy. Have a happy life. We're done. Thank you.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
My daughter trusted somebody who said that they would make the payments.
I wanted the car when I wanted the car, and they should have had it smogged.
They had worked out the deal with what was going to go on with the smogging.
And I knew that, and I took the car anyways.
The lady canceled numerous times. My daughter was trying to work with her.
Don't have a friend test drive it for you, for starters.
And the lady wanted the car then.
And make sure that it's smogged.
And my daughter trusted her, and she took advantage of her.
All parties in the matter of Pesanowski versus Morgan. Step to the podium, please.
Kendra Pesanowski is suing her former friend, Megan Morgan, for vet bills regarding the euthanizing of a dog.
Ms. Pegnowski, there is no way that this is a happy case. You had 3 small chihuahuas.
Yes.
You were moving from one apartment to another, and I must assume from the complaint that you filed, you could only take 2 of them with you.
Correct.
The oldest of those dogs was quite senior. How old?
She was 15.
And how old were the others?
They were 5 and 10.
So this is what happened. You had to make a difficult decision, either moving. And was it part of your lease that you could only have 2 dogs?
Yes.
Part with the older one, and you called a friend of yours, that's the defendant, and you asked her if she could take the 15-year-old.
Yes.
You do understand that that's sort of a big responsibility to ask someone else to do, to take an old dog, which is going to require care. The dog is quite senior. That's a sort of a big responsibility to ask someone else to do.
Yes.
But you did it anyway, and the defendant, who has dogs, how many dogs do you have?
I currently have 5 chihuahuas.
She said she would take, is it a boy or a girl that she took?
It was a girl, and she happily said she would take her. And the reason why I was going to...
Well, let me explain something to you. You asked her to do you a favor. So it's not that somebody's happy to take a 15-year-old dog. Someone says, I will do it because the alternatives sound awful. So you brought your older little girl to her house, and you gave her the dog.
Yes, she happily took the dog, and...
No, don't tell me happily. You gave her the dog. That's
Yes, ma'am.
either yes or no.
Yes, ma'am.
You gave her the dog. So now it's her dog.
Yes, ma'am.
The defendant arrived at my house later that evening on the 28th of February. She stated that she couldn't keep the dog. I graciously accepted taking on the responsibility.
She didn't just
No, ma'am.
show up.
It wasn't a call. It was she reached out to me via text message on Messenger through Facebook.
Okay. Do you have those messages with you?
I do have the messages with me.
Would you read them to me, please?
Yes, ma'am. Hey girl, long time no talk to. I hope you're well and life's treating you great. I'm reaching out to you because I'm having to make the hardest decision of my life. I have to move to a place that I've lived for the past 2 years by March 1st. I found a place at last minute that will take me with my horrible credit, but absolutely not 3 dogs. I thought long and hard, and I feel Tater would be the best to be put in a retirement home setting for senior dogs. But no one is working with me with Tater. She's mostly deaf and has some cataracts, but otherwise is very healthy. Well, shoot me a call. My number is, this is my response. So you're looking for a home for just Tater? Yeah, I'll take her. I mean, I already have 5, but what's 1 more? Oh my God, you're amazing. Call me. I'm in Ramona at the moment. I'll call you when I'm back in Lakeside. Okay, thank you, Megan. I can finally stop crying. That was on February 26th at 9:54 in the morning.
When did you drop the dog off? On the 26th, at what time?
At around noon, she came to my home.
Okay, and then tell me what happened to the dog.
She laying around with my kids. She was in the house. She was treated like one of my own.
How many children do you have?
I have 2, a 6-year-old and a 7-year-old. I went to bed that night. Tater was fine. She was actually sleeping in my bedroom on my floor. My dogs free roam in my house, so it wasn't an issue. She did suffer from incontinence, so it was kind of an issue with my husband, and I told him that I would address it at a later date, that I would get her a crate or something to have her own provisions for that dog. The next morning, I got up at 5 a.m. I let all my dogs out in my secured backyard, and by 7 a.m. when I got up to get my kids ready for school, I received a text message from my neighbor stating that there was a dog whining in my backyard and she looked hurt. When I went outside to look for said dog, she was sitting by my back gate and she had a laceration to her right shoulder. The moment that I had found the dog in that state, I contacted Kendra and said that Tater had been hurt, that she's at my house, and that I needed her to come down and get her because I had to get, at this time, this is before COVID, my 2 small children had to be at school by 8 o'clock. I set Tater up in my driveway in an X pen, what we use in rescues. I had her bed out there with her and everything. Kendra arrived and picked up Tater and then proceeded to take her to Animal Medical Center in El Cajon due to the laceration on her right shoulder.
So let me understand. Plaintiff.
Yes, ma'am.
And told her to come and get the dog.
Yes, ma'am.
And take the dog to the vet.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, right now, Miss Morgan, you do understand that the law says that you are the dog's owner.
Okay. I do not know the laws
From the
by
time-
heart, so I do not know that.
Well, I'll tell you. When she asked you to take the dog and you agreed to take the dog and she brought the dog to you and relinquished control of the dog to you, she relinquished any interest that she had in the dog.
Yes, ma'am.
To you. So when you called her and asked her to come and get the dog and take the dog to the vet, you were asking her to come and take your dog to the vet. That's the law. I know it may sound ridiculous to you because you had had the dog less than 24 hours, but it's still your dog, and you were asking the former dog's owner to take the dog to the vet.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so she, therefore, under those circumstances, as silly as it may sound to a layperson, she was acting as your agent in taking the dog to the vet. So what she's asking for is for you to pay for the dog's vet bill.
Yes, ma'am, and I understand that. She did not request me to pay for the vet bill. I would have gladly paid for the vet bill. I have a stack of bills sitting in front of me that shows that I am a responsible pet owner.
We ask you for.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I did try to call her so many times, and she blocked me.
No, not blocked you. That was later. I'm talking about, do you have any evidence that on the 27th, when you were at the vet, you tried to contact Miss Morgan? The answer is either yes or no.
Kendra Pesanowski claims former friend Megan Morgan owes for vet bills after she euthanized a dog due to Megan's neglect.
So, Miss Morgan, what did she ask you for?
She didn't ask me. So after she retrieved Tater, she took her to AMC Vet, and she took it upon herself to have the dog euthanized. She didn't seek treatment for the dog. I was then threatened. I had to block her on Facebook.
Hold on.
Yes, ma'am.
You had the dog euthanized because?
They wanted to do surgery, and it was going to be $3,000. And I did not have the money, and they also said with the age that she was at, she might not survive.
Did you tell?
I could not get a hold of Miss Megan.
Well, I would like you to show me on your phone on the 27th of February, sometime early in the morning, that you, because now she's the owner, could make a decision as to whether or not the dog should have surgery or should be euthanized. Because if you made that decision by yourself, madam, then you'll pay your own vet bill. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Preliminarily, you gave the dog to the defendant. She asked you, acting as her agent, to pick up the dog to take it to be treated at the vet. You just told me that you made a decision when you took the dog to the vet because of the dog's age and the fact that you didn't have money for surgery to have the dog euthanized. And I have to see that you made efforts to contact the dog's owner because, you know, that doesn't have to be done in a moment. That could be done in an hour or two in the time that you possibly could reach her. Do you have any evidence that on the 27th in the morning, when you were at the vet, you tried to contact Miss Morgan? The answer is either yes or no.
I would have to pull it up, so I do not have...
I have time. If you say you tried to call, don't waste my time. So if you have proof that you tried to call her from the vet, and there's a time frame when you would be at the vet on that morning so that the owner of the dog could make a decision as to whether she wanted to spend the money for surgery or not, I'll read that. If you made the decision, then you pay for the vet bill yourself. And if the vet bill was
I did try to call her so many times, and she blocked me and would not answer my phone calls.
No, not blocked you. That was later. I'm talking about calling her from the vet in the morning of the 27th. Did you call her from the vet the morning of the 27th?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
After the text message was sent that she said I killed her dog, I received a phone call from Animal Control stating that I was neglectful and she was making up these stories so that they would come and investigate me.
All right.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kendra Pesanowski claims former friend Megan Morgan owes for vet bills after she euthanized a dog due to Megan's neglect.
Now, did you call her from the vet the morning of the 27th?
I did. I need to look and find the proof. I need
to... Go.
May I state something while she looks for the proof?
Phone.
May I state something
Sure.
while she looks on the proof? Okay,
Yes.
So after she retrieved the dog, I had gotten the text message later on that evening that she had indeed put the dog down.
Was that the first time You heard
Yes,
from
ma'am.
her?
That was the first time that I heard from her. The text
Could
message.
you bring that up?
I would love to. I have a new cell phone. My number's been changing and everything.
You brought up the other text message from
That was
prior.
via Messenger off Facebook. So logging into
I
my
see.
Facebook is one thing. Getting my actual text messages from my prior cell phone is another. So after the text message was sent that she said I killed her dog because she had to have her euthanized, I received a phone call from animal control stating that there was allegations that I was neglectful and that I had more animals than I was allotted to have on my property, and she was making up these stories so that they would come and investigate me.
All right.
Upon talking
Okay.
to them is
All right.
when animal control had informed me where the dog was euthanized.
Don't tell me. Don't
Yes, ma'am.
tell me what anybody told you. She had the dog euthanized. She said she did.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I said, first off, the vet has never even heard of any animal ever leaving a dog with these significant injuries in a cage in the cold outside by their driveway, complete neglect. Second, for you to have said you couldn't take her to the vet because yours was closed.
Listen to me.
Yes, ma'am.
Listen to me. I asked you for a simple thing, not that you're blaming her sometime later. I asked you to find a phone call that you tried to make to her from the vet. Look, it's very unfortunate what happened to your dog. You called all three. You made a choice of which one. You chose the oldest one. She took the dog. You brought the dog there. There is absolutely no evidence, and you don't have any evidence, and I certainly don't believe that the defendant did anything to harm your dog. She took your dog in along with her other dogs. By the way, did you tell her that your dog was incontinent?
No, she was
When you
not
called
incontinent,
her,
ma'am.
when you called her. Okay.
I would not rehome a dog that was incontinent.
Yeah.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay. Now, do you have any proof that you called her from the vet so that she could make a decision as to whether, she's now the dog's owner, that she could make the decision about whether to euthanize the dog or to have surgery?
If I had been smart and pulled up the phone records, I would have evidence.
Okay, but you don't.
I don't.
So it's very unfortunate that this dog ended its long life that way. It's always said we can't always pick the way we or our pets go. So your vet bill was $700. Is that what it was?
It was $342.
Yeah, you take care of the dog. You take care of it yourself. Your case is dismissed. We're finished. Thank you.
Case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy, their conflict is at a crossroads.
He's 100% at fault when he hit my car.
Well, they only sent her 50%. She wants the whole thing. What do you think?
Judge Judy.
I don't know why she would put the dog, a Chihuahua, in a cage in the driveway.
Any dog rescue uses what they call X pins.
When I have an hour drive to go pick her up, and she was still in the cage, bleeding.
The dog was not in a confined space. She had a bed. She had a blanket.
I feel like it's my fault. That dog is dead.
A sad story that the dog had to perish. If she would have actually called me from the vet, we could have come to agreement and had Tater still here with us today.
They ought to make you have this dog muzzled at all times.
A neighborhood menace unleashed.
Mr. Nebrita's dog bit my dog. Mr. Nebrita was not present.
A second attack repeated the terror.
Gary came to the front of my garage. Athena noticed that he was coming in.
Let his poodle come into your garage. Don't embarrass yourself. Don't you have family?
This is Judge Judy. Gary Wong is suing his neighbor, Ronald Nebrita, for vet bills, broken glasses, and emotional distress due to a dog attack.
Judge, this is case number 76 on the calendar in the matter of Wong versus Nebrita. Parties have been sworn in. Sir, have a seat, please.
Thank you, Bird. Mr. Wong, you have a little dog, a poodle. Is it a standard poodle? Is it a miniature poodle? Is it a toy poodle?
He's a 10-pound miniature poodle.
How long have you had him?
Had him for over 3-4 years.
It is your claim that on 2 separate occasions, one in March of this year and once again in September of this year, that the defendant's dog, while unleashed, bit your dog. You have some substantial vet bills that you want him to be responsible for. Would you tell me about the first incident that happened in March of 2020?
Yes. So the incident happened at 10 a.m. Pretty much I went downstairs to walk my dog with a leash. And as I walked
No, just a second. Stop. Did you say off the leash or on the leash?
On leash. So he was on leash.
On leash.
Next to me. So I walked 3-4 houses away from my house and came over and pretty much circled around my dog and pretty much made my dog anxious. And then before I knew it, Mr. Nebrita's dog bit my dog. And then at that time, Mr. Nebrita was not present.
But had you ever seen Mr. Nebrita's dog before?
I have seen Mr. Nebrita's dog before.
So there was no question that the dog was his dog and came from his house. How far does he live from you?
He lives across the street and one house to the left.
So pretty close. How long have you had your dog, Mr. Nebrita?
For over 2 years.
Where were you on March the 30th, 2020?
I was actually
at 10 o'clock in the morning.
I was actually upstairs in my apartment.
And who was responsible for your dog?
My neighbor Paul was actually, I asked him to watch Athena as I went upstairs.
Okay, so you were outside with your dog whose name is Athena. What kind of a dog is Athena?
Athena is a German Shepherd and a Siberian Husky mix.
So you had been out with the dog?
No, we usually hang out in the garage. She sleeps in the garage, and, you know, we go up and down into the apartment. And Paul, my neighbor...
Okay, you and Athena were in the garage.
Right, at the time.
And at the time, Athena was off-leash with you in the garage. You were putting around.
Yes.
Your neighbor came in and you went upstairs.
Correct.
And you left your neighbor in charge of the unleashed dog.
In the garage, yes.
In the closed?
It was open.
It was open, so that the dog could just walk out of the garage.
She could have, yes, and yes, because it was open.
Well, that's what she did.
Yes.
That's what she did. She walked out, and she was off leash.
Correct.
So there's no question that you're responsible for any vet bills that the plaintiff has for the March 30th incident. You understand that?
Okay, but...
Now, did Mr. Wong come to your house? How did you find out that your dog had bitten his dog?
Well, he came to my house, not knowing that he actually went to the vet for his dog, and I told him that, you know, I would be, as neighborly, I would help him out with some of the bill, possibly if I had extra cash or whatever.
Not neighborly. Did your neighbor with whom you left Athena tell you that your dog had been involved in an incident? The neighbor is here.
Yes.
Let him stand up. I want to see him. Would you move over, please? You're his neighbor. What is your name?
Paul Politi.
You were watching Athena. Is that what he told me? Is that true?
Yes, I was.
Now, Athena left the garage and went across the street.
That didn't happen.
No, look at me. Look, just a second.
At you.
Look at my eyes.
Yes.
Athena left the garage and...
Yes.
Go ahead.
And then they approached each other. The two dogs approached each other, and then that's when I seen Gary's dog bit Athena, so she reacted and bit it back. And then...
That couldn't have happened if Athena wasn't out without a leash. Sit. What were the vet bills for March 30th?
The March 30th bills was $1,487.
Did he give you any money towards those bills?
So after I approached Mr. Nebrita to try to work out the situation, he was telling me the situation is like, with COVID, everything, it was very difficult for him. So we tried to work out a plan.
Did he give you any money is my question.
No.
The answer is no, he did not.
No.
Now, I'd like you to tell me what happened on September 16th.
So what happened on September 16th, it was 7 p.m. and I came down from my apartment and I was going to take out the garbage and then walk my dog right after. And I look across the street and I see Mr. Nebrita walking over to another neighbor's house located. And so I assumed that he was going to talk to some friends. Then I look over to where his place is, and then I noticed that his dog, Athena, was right across the street staring at my dog.
Just stop. Was she across the street alone?
Yes, across.
I mean, he was walking over to another neighbor's house?
Correct.
Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
That Athena was across the street. Now, Was your dog on a leash?
He was on leash.
Yes?
Yes.
Then tell me what happened.
So I went down to pick up my dog, and then before I knew it, Athena ran over and pretty much bit my dog. Then I'm trying to grab Athena to try to get him off. And all I just hear is my dog just sort of screaming. So then I just hear like bites after bites, and then I'm just trying to shout, "Get off my dog, get off my dog." Soon after, I hear Mr. Nebrada saying, "Athena, get off, get off." And then after a couple bites, then he finally let go of my dog.
Your version.
I was in the garage
Nebrada,
with Athena.
Your version.
I was in the garage with Athena. Gary came to the front of my garage. Athena noticed that he was coming in, and they actually scuffled again. And it wasn't even that long of a time for her to really actually bite and attack her, but no.
Are you telling, listen to me.
Yes.
Nebrada.
Yes.
Are you telling me that after the March incident, this man let his poodle come into your garage? Is that what you're telling? That's what you want this face to believe?
It happened in front of my garage.
This is what you
Yes.
want? This
Yes.
is what you want this face to believe, that a dog being bit in March, he came over, crossed the street from his house to your house to the open garage.
Yes.
He did that.
In front of my garage.
You're an idiot. You want me to believe that after he witnessed his dog being bloodied in March, that had to be stitched up in March, he took his 10-pound dog across the street to your unleashed dog, who was again sitting in the garage.
Yes.
Sitting in the garage. Don't embarrass yourself. Don't you have family who watch television? Don't humiliate yourself. How much were the bills in September?
The bill in September was $4,500.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. They ought to make you have this dog muzzled at all times. And you better check your homeowner's insurance. If you have a job, the next time it happens, they're going to garnish your salary or take away your car or whatever else they have. Goodbye. We're finished.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
With Athena being a larger dog and Gary's dog being smaller, his wounds were a lot worse.
It's definitely a relief to actually get some sort of conclusion.
Well, I was in the garage when Gary did come in front of the garage.
Well, especially with the first incidents, I avoid his house as much as possible.
All parties in the matter of Estrada versus Barreco, step forward, please.
Angela Estrada moved out owing for rent, bills, and damages to her home.
Miss Estrada, the defendant was a tenant of yours.
Yes.
From when to when?
She originally rented the house in June of 2018. She moved in with her boyfriend.
I didn't ask you who she moved in with.
I'm sorry.
I just said, when did her tenancy start?
Her tenancy started
June
in
of
June
2018. Did she have a one-year lease or a two-year lease?
It was originally a one-year lease that went to a month-to-month tenancy thereafter.
So she was a tenant of yours from June of 2018 to May 31st, 2019, when she became a month-to-month tenant.
Yes.
Thereafter, she was your tenant until June of this year?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
From June 2018 to June 2019, did the defendant pay you rent?
Yes, ma'am.
And from June of 2019 until May of 2020, did the defendant pay you rent?
Yes, ma'am. Not always on time towards the end.
Well, you were aware as a landlord that there was a moratorium on eviction for tenants.
Yes, ma'am.
Question. Why don't you let me finish my question?
Okay.
There was a moratorium on eviction for non-payment of rent because of the pandemic starting in March. You were aware of that?
Yes, ma'am.
And despite the fact that you were aware that you were forbidden to evict the defendant, she paid you rent in March, in April.
No, ma'am. She didn't pay in April.
No rent in April. In May?
She paid April's rent in mid-May, and she paid May's rent at the end of May.
What difference does it make? You got paid for 3 months' rent, despite the fact that you had no recourse if she stopped paying you rent.
Yes, ma'am.
Correct? So she was one of the good guys who continued to pay rent even though their landlord would have no recourse if they stopped.
I didn't have an issue with her paying the rent.
So that's just, well, that's not 100% true because you have in your complaint late fees.
Yes, ma'am. That was in our contract.
You understand what I'm saying. So I am eliminating that. And the only part of your complaint that I'm going to hear is, because the rest of it is nonsense, Mr. Strader. You should say thank you very much for being an honest person and paying your rent.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Without my permission, Ms. Barreco painted the bedrooms. She left painter's tape. It peeled all of the paint off.
You hadn't painted the house in 5 years.
Yes, ma'am.
Time to paint.
Angela Estrada is suing her former tenant, Madison Barreco, for property damage, utilities, lock-changing fees, and for prorated rent she never paid.
Now, she gave you a security deposit, and the security deposit was how much?
$1,000.
Did you return the security deposit to her?
No, ma'am.
So you kept the security deposit, for which I assume you were alleging damage.
Yes, ma'am. Lots of damage.
So far, $1,000 of that you've kept for some of the damage. Now I would like to see what you are alleging she caused in damage to the premises that is $4,000 worth.
Absolutely. We had an appointment for her to come through a walkthrough. Actually, we made several appointments.
That is not a question that I asked you. What I asked you was I'd like to see photographing she caused to the premises, photographs.
Okay. This first photograph is of the security door as you get to the house. And when I got to the house, the security door couldn't close any longer because it had been pried open at some point, and it would no longer shut, lock, or close.
Okay. Stop right there. Leave that there. Miss Barreco, how did that happen to the door?
The door, it wasn't that bad when we moved in 2018. I'll admit that. It was not that bad. There was one day that we were outside. We had to pry that open because of how old that screen was.
Okay. Now, what I'd like to see is a bill to repair that door, the security door. Okay. Security door replaced, new security door installed, replaced broken jambs, new door installed. Okay. $360. What's next?
When I got to the house, this is the air filter in the hallway, and it had never been changed, and it was actually sucked up into the vent. I know it hadn't been changed because I dated
Next.
them.
You should have changed it. You're the landlord. Next.
This is one of the rooms. The carpeting could not be cleaned. It was filthy, so I had the carpeting removed.
And you want her to pay for new carpeting?
Yes, ma'am. The carpeting was brand new when she moved in.
The carpet was not brand new. She had tenants living there before me. Brand new.
It was not brand new.
That's a different, just a second.
I apologize.
That's a different story.
It was
That's a different story.
Like
What's
new
next?
conditioner.
What's next?
In one
What's
of the bedrooms,
next? 360.
Without my permission, Miss Barreco painted the bedrooms and then tried to repaint over where she had painted them. She left painter's tape attached to the walls, and you can see it's not covering the actual paint at all. When I took the painter's tape off, it peeled all of the paint off.
Miss Estrada, how many rental properties do you have?
Just the one, Your Honor. This was my grandfather's house. He left it to me.
In what year?
It would have been almost 11 years ago. It'll be 11 years ago in a month from when he passed away.
And have you constantly rented that house?
Well, I spent a year renovating it. I took out a very large loan and renovated the whole house.
Just a second. Has the house been consistently rented since then?
Most of the time, yes. There might have been a month or two gap, but for the most part, it's been rented the whole time.
Have you done any renovations or refurbishing since you totally renovated the home 11 years ago?
I replaced the carpet 5 years ago, 2 years before Miss Barreco was in it. So when I say I replaced it, it would have been
5 years ago?
Yes, ma'am.
Did a new tenant move into the house?
Yes. After, yes. She started renting in August. I spent 6 weeks fixing everything.
So she moved in August 1st?
The new tenant moved in August 1st, yes.
And you were paid your rent from the defendant through most of June?
Yes, ma'am.
So the only month that you didn't have
was July.
Was July. And you hadn't painted the house in 5 years?
Yes, ma'am.
According to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Time to paint.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Do you know anything about a broken window?
The window that she's talking about that's cracked or missing or whatever was from the gardeners, so I was not going to pay for the window that they broke.
Do you know how the gardeners broke that window?
Maybe a rock hit it, I don't know.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Angela Estrada is suing her former tenant, Madison Barreco, for property damage, utilities, lock changing fees, and for prorated rent she never paid.
Now, clearly, you were able to put the house in sufficient conditions so that in August, with only 1 month downtime, you have a new tenant. Show me the other pictures of the other damage that you're alleging. So far, you have $1,000 in security deposit that you retained.
Flush. Plumber out.
Okay. I would like to see the bill from the plumber. $273.12.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now we're up to $633. What's next?
The house was left very, very dirty.
Now I will see a bill from a cleaning service to clean the apartment after the defendant left.
This was the bill for the cleaning company to come in and clean the house.
Great. Window cleaning, she's not responsible for. So that's $400 that you paid to clean.
Yes, ma'am.
$1033. What else?
When she moved out, she took.
What else?
She didn't return all of the keys. I had to have the locks changed.
That's your business. What's next?
There was also one window that was broken and one that was missing completely, so I had to have those two windows replaced.
Picture, please. Do you know anything about a broken window?
I had replaced a broken window, yes, but the other window, no. And the window that she's talking about that's cracked or missing or whatever was from the gardeners, so I was not going to pay for the window that they broke. That was not on me.
Ms. Barreco never let me know there was a broken window.
Do you know how the gardeners broke that window?
Maybe a rock hit it, I don't know, but I know for a fact that it wasn't me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Did you replace a window?
I replaced a window, yes.
Tell me when you replaced a window and how did it come about that you needed to replace a window?
The window in the living room. My dog, there was somebody walking and he was barking and he pushed the window and it fell out and broke. I had that one replaced. But that one, I don't know, okay. And the gardener.
This was in one of the bedrooms, and as you can see, there's no window there.
Okay, very good. Would you remove the phone, please, and let me see the bill?
That's the glass shop bill.
$110. That's the glass.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So far, she owes you $143. You kept $1,000 of her security deposit. The overage of what you showed me is $143.
Additionally, she threw out all of the curtains in the house. She admits to throwing them out.
Miss Estrada?
Yes, ma'am.
$143. Consider yourself lucky. We're finished. This case is over. Goodbye.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy, the reasons to evict were growing.
He brought in his daughter, and then he brought in his second daughter, and then he brought in his third daughter.
You had 60 days to leave. Why didn't you?
Judge Judy.
Ms. Barreco destroyed my grandfather's house.
I am glad with the decision because I don't believe I should have paid anything.
It just broke my heart that she would be so disrespectful to me.
The house was not in perfect condition before I moved in.
A fitness instructor's questionable technique.
The agreement was I would collect payment at the end of the classes.
That's not a way to do business.
I thought I could trust her.
Now,
we never completed the sessions.
Logic gets a workout.
What justification is there for you not to pay her any money?
She was late. Half the classes weren't even 2 hours. She probably doesn't understand what she's trying to say.
This is Judge Judy. Zumba instructor Taylor Coco Patterson is suing former student Nikki Herrera for the cost of classes.
Judge's case number 94 on the calendar in the matter of Patterson versus Herrera. The parties have been sworn in, Your Honor.
Ms. Patterson, you allege that you had a contract with the defendant, and that contract provided that she was going to pay $2,000 for private dance classes that you were going to provide her. Those dance classes were Zumba classes, athletic. I tried it once. I wasn't very good at it, but I am familiar with it. How long have you been a Zumba instructor?
For for approximately 5 years.
Do you give private lessons as well as lessons for groups?
Yes.
Miss Herrera, how did you find Miss Patterson? Who referred you to her?
I actually found her on Instagram. A few people I saw on my timeline had already booked her, and so I just reached out to them.
In what month and year did you reach out to her?
It was January of 2020.
How far away does she live from you?
About 2 hours.
It's a 2-hour drive?
With traffic, yes.
What was the contract you made with her?
So the contract that I made with Taylor was actually for 10 Zumba private classes for the $2,000.
When were they supposed to start?
January 30th of 2020.
Was that a weekend or a weekday?
It was a weekday. Our first class was a weekday.
So you had a round trip of 4 hours on that day?
Correct.
So you went to the first class?
I did.
Did you go to a second class?
Yes, ma'am.
On what date?
I can't remember the exact date, but it was supposed to be on Thursdays and Saturdays. So my first class was on a Thursday, and then the second class was that Saturday.
What was the second date she went for a class, Miss Patterson?
Well, the first date was January 30th, 2020.
So she went one day right after another?
No, it wasn't going to be like that. It was like 2 days a week, typically Thursdays and Saturdays, because those were days that we agreed upon that we would both be available.
Did she attend the class on February 1st?
Yes.
And there were supposed to be 10 of these classes for $2,000. Is that right?
Yes, 2-hour classes, 10 2-hour classes, yes.
Now, you had never met her before, so could you explain to me, as somebody who's been in the business for 4 or 5 years, and since you never met her before, could you explain to me why you didn't, as people usually do in this kind of business when they do classes, you want to take 10 classes, great, it's $2,000. You pay up front and then you eat off whatever it is. You not only didn't ask for any money up front, but she didn't even pay you when she came, at least the first 2 classes. You want to explain that to me?
Yes, because the agreement was, number one, the first reason is she was referred by a longtime client of mine.
Well, that's what you say. That's not what she says. She says that she found you through Instagram.
Through a client of mine.
You may have.
So a client that
That's not what she said.
Well, she probably doesn't understand what she's trying to say. A human being referred her to me. So she may have reached out to that human being. That human being reached out to me and then vouched. So that's how I got the referral. So that's number one. Number two.
Well, she says she got you via Instagram.
But Instagram is
and
like
she
friends.
Got you via
you have
Instagram
friends
from
on Instagram.
Somebody.
Yeah.
I understand that. I understand that. So she found it on her Instagram. Somebody that she knew had taken classes from you. That person contacted you.
Yes.
And that's how you got together.
Yes.
Okay. But she found you on Instagram.
Through a friend, through a mutual friend.
Another person who she was
friends with,
connected to on Instagram.
Who had taken my classes.
You don't necessarily have to be a friend to somebody who's on Instagram. You know, people have 967 people.
Right.
I think I know 967 people in my whole life that I would send a photograph to.
Try 30,000.
Do you want to try to explain to me why you didn't take any money from her the first 2 classes?
Because the agreement was that I would collect payment at the end of the classes. And, you know, me being...
But that's not a way to do business. Nobody does business like that in the training business. No trainer comes in and says, you do your class.
I do. I have worked with trainers before who I have not paid up front, who have collected from me at the end. So it might not have been the wisest decision. Hindsight is 20/20 vision, you know, but it was the decision I made. You know, I thought I could trust her. I have other people who have paid in this same exact manner. I had no problems collecting payment. The classes are worth it. They were good. So the person who referred her was someone I also trusted. So I thought it would be okay this time around.
What's the name of the person who referred you?
Summer.
Summer what?
I only know her first name is Summer. She's not someone I wouldn't know her last name. Instagram is typically Instagram name, first name, but she's my client.
You said she was a very good client of yours.
She was, but I know her as Summer.
You say in your complaint she was referred to me
by a longtime client.
By a longtime client.
Yes. But
whose last name you don't know?
No, you know how many people I know I don't know their last names. No. I'm sorry.
Well, if you look on your phone, how would you list Summer if she was a longtime client, if you had to get in touch with her?
Summer Bunny.
So find it in your phone.
It's on my Instagram.
Well, your Instagram is also on your phone.
Right, but What do you want me to do?
Well, if she was a long-time client, let me ask you this question, madam. If you want me to fully understand you.
Okay.
If you had a long-time client whose name was Summer, whose last name you don't know.
Right.
But you got sick, and you had to call them or notify them not to come to the class because you were sick, as you were sick a couple of times when she was supposed to take classes, how would you get in touch with Summer?
No, I could do that with Instagram, but I would text her on Instagram. I would send her a DM on Instagram and let her know that I wasn't feeling well and I wasn't going to be able to make it. And that's how I would reach her. And she might not reply back.
All I want you to do is take out your phone.
Yes.
And show me on Instagram text Summer. And show me that goes through on Instagram. I'm here doing a case with a person you referred to me. I just would like to see it.
No worries.
To Summer.
Oh, here she is. So should I sit it here?
Yes, please.
All right. So I'm going to sit my phone here. So unfortunately, you're going to see other messages I've sent to Summer. But this is her profile.
Great. Okay. Now that you've found this, can you find me possibly where you have any communication about the defendant with Summer?
Oh, no, we had verbal conversations. Like at the end of a class, I spoke with her and she mentioned her to me. And also by way of just phone call. Phone call? Yeah, phone call or either a class.
Phone call. Well, also
but she and I, we were doing a class together. No. We were doing a class together, and that's where she mentioned her.
Okay. How many classes in total prior to the pandemic did Miss Herrera?
In March. So I would say 8. Approximately we complete, no, not approximate, but 8 classes.
Is that correct? How many round trips did you make to her house?
I took 7 classes. She missed the last 3.
No, I missed 2.
It was 3.
I missed 2.
She missed the last 3.
Okay. Did you pay her for those classes?
No.
Why?
Well, I was supposed to pay her at the end of our session, our 10 sessions. We never completed the sessions to even do that. She just sent me an invoice.
So you don't think that because you took 7 2-hour classes with her, you have any responsibility to pay her?
No, because they weren't even the full classes. She was late. Half the classes weren't even 2 hours. And she didn't, so I don't understand why am I paying for classes that weren't complete?
You have a piece of paper there.
Mm-hmm.
What is that piece of paper?
These are my notes.
What are those 2 pieces of paper?
These are my notes, and this is the invoice. And then one of our text messages that I found. I have a new phone and number, so this was just the last that I had.
Okay. I'd like to see the invoice she sent you. Well, what is that? That is a nothing. Take that away. That's a nothing that somebody made up. Okay. Now let me see the... What is this? I'm staying that Friday, leaving on Saturday. Is those messages from her?
So this is my message here. This first message, she missed a lot of...
I'll be there Friday.
Correct. She missed she missed classes, and she was supposed to, let me know when we can make them up. So I was messaging her, letting her know I was going to be in her city this day, but I was not staying. And so I just let her know I was going to be here to see if maybe we can, get together for a class. And she said yes, but it just took her forever to respond.
Unless you need me. Delayed response. I'm preparing for you. Yes, we can get together Saturday afternoon. Also, what about your friend? What's the friend?
She asked me a while back if I knew anyone who did hair, and I sent her the person's name or whatever, and that was it. But they didn't respond back to her, so I think that's what she was responding, like, what happened to your friend? But I called her because it takes her forever to even respond to me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I just feel like I came to her classes. I'm driving 2 hours. Half the time, she's late to every class. Why am I paying you for a class and you're not even giving me the full
So why
hours?
didn't you just say I'm not coming anymore?
And later today.
Why don't you sue him? He sold the salon.
Because I have no idea where...
He sold on my problem.
Zumba instructor Taylor Coco Patterson claims former student Nikki Herrera owes for classes.
Okay, I'm going to take your figure that you took 7 classes. It still means that you owe her $1,400. How can you not pay her anything? What justification do you have? And this is the end of February, when you've already taken, according to you, most, if not all of the classes that you took, what justification is there for you not to pay her any money?
Okay, first and foremost, Your Honor, I just feel like I came to her classes. I'm driving 2 hours. We get there, half the time she's late to every class. The class is only 2 hours. Why am I paying you for a class, a full class, and you're not even giving me the full
So why
hours?
didn't you just say, I'm not coming anymore?
Well, I did later on.
Why didn't you just say, I'm not coming anymore? I'm not making a 4-hour trip if you're going to be late.
Well, Your Honor, that's kind of why I kind of just stopped, going to the classes, the last few classes.
Well, that's okay, but then you stop and you pay her. You don't stop and don't pay her.
So I'm going to pay her for
That's
classes
irresponsible.
that didn't get completed? That doesn't make sense.
It makes perfect sense to me. If you took the class, if you said to her, sorry, you're a half hour late, and if you said in 2 hours to get there, I would say, this is not working out for me. I'm going to pay you for the class that I took, or the 2 classes that I took, but I'm not coming back here. I'm not making a 4-hour round trip if you're going to be disrespectful of my time and come a half hour late.
I've spoke to her.
And you spoke to her, but you continued to come. You're ridiculous.
I mean, I figured she would change
pay
up
for the classes. I'm not giving you the $2,000 that you want. I don't think you're entitled to money that you didn't earn, but you did do some work.
I did work.
$1,400 cover the hourly?
Yes.
$1,400. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done. Thank you.
Thank you.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
I don't agree with it, but I respect it.
I could have done a better job about collecting payment up front.
It is what it is. I just know not to do business with her again.
She wanted to work on the booty. She wanted to get her booty right.
I had a young man, so I was trying to get my groove back.
Money up front from now on out. You can't trust anyone.
All parties in the matter of Ernst Palmer versus Trivedi Abus Yunus. Step to the podium, please.
Joyette Ernst Palmer is suing Ravi Trivedi and Rabi Abu Yunus for property left behind at a salon they purchased.
Ernst Palmer?
Yes.
Your business is or was in a tanning salon. And you had your own tanning salon piece of equipment.
Yes, I was a mobile.
And you brought your machine to a salon.
Correct.
They had nothing to do with the salon that you brought your machine to. Who was the owner of the salon that you brought your machine to?
The owner was Asfer. It was under previous ownership when I was originally hired back in May of 2019.
Okay. Now, at some point, you agreed to sell your mobile unit to Mr. Asfar.
Correct.
For $1,000.
Yes, ma'am.
When did you make that agreement with Mr. Asfar?
I made it on January 21st of 2020.
And he paid you for the unit, according to your complaint, $660.
Correct, in increments.
And Mr. Asfar had a balance of $340.
Correct.
That he owed you.
Yes.
On the machine.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you were whole. And then Mr. Asfar sold the salon to these 2 gentlemen.
Correct.
That was when? When did you purchase the salon? Month and year?
February 6th, 2020.
When they purchased the salon, did you advise them that the piece of equipment had a balance due of $340?
Yes, I did.
Is that correct?
No, that's not correct.
Did she at any time tell you, prior owner, to purchase the salon?
No, we were not aware of any prior agreement whatsoever.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Okay, so when did you have a conversation with either one of the 2 defendants?
I spoke with Robbie. It was in March because I was still waiting for the rest of the money from Mr. Asfor. And I told him
Yes.
I'm still owed $340 for my equipment.
So
and
why don't you, just a second, why don't you sue him? He sold the salon.
Because I have no idea where...
He sold the salon, whether you had...
I have no idea where he is.
Well,
my
that's
personal stuff...
That's not my problem.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Did you have a lawyer?
It went through my CPA.
So your accountant had to speak to the seller's representative. Just say yes or no.
Yes,
Don't shake your head. This is audio-visual.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Joyette Ernst Palmer claims Ravi Trivedi and Rabi Abu Yunus owe for a tanning machine and personal property left behind at a salon they purchased. She is also suing for lost wages.
Okay, go ahead.
They have all my stuff.
No,
they also
have none of your stuff. No.
They have it in the salon. He wouldn't let me take it.
No, listen to me. because COVID struck, he got rid of that was in the shop. He purchased the shop. Listen, there's no question that they have a contract that they're going to show me. Is that correct? That you purchased the shop and all the stuff in the shop?
That's correct.
You want to put that up there? Good. Just point to the area in the purchase agreement where you purchase everything that's in the salon.
Yes. So we have the excluded liabilities and assumed liabilities.
Oh, well, that's an interesting thing. So, Mr. Erspower.
Yes.
Your lawsuit is against Mr. Asfor, not the defendants. You've been paid $660 for your tanning machine on a $1,000 purchase price. Mr. Asfor owes you $340.
Correct.
Not the defendants.
Along with they have my stuff, though, in the salon. I never agreed to sell my personal stuff, just the machine.
Just for my own information, what personal stuff are you talking about?
I brought 2 sheets with me. I brought hair accessories.
I'm not interested in sheets. Not interested in your hair accessories. What's next?
That is my personal stuff that is my personal stuff that I purchased and I brought from home.
Do you have any of that stuff? Do you have 2 sheets and hair accessories is my question.
We do not have it anything. It
they
was
don't
never
have it.
there.
What's next? Just a second. I don't care. I just want to know if you, I'm just asking if you, I would say if you have them, give them back to her. What else? You're suing the wrong people for your tanning machine. You have to find and sue Mr. Asfor, and maybe they can even help you locate him because they paid him $33,000. So they, right? You paid $33,000 for the business?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm sure you have a bank account that you had to pay the money to, unless you paid him in cash. Did you pay him in cash?
We paid via the cashier's check.
Did you have a lawyer on this sale of the business? Did you have a lawyer?
It went through my CPA. We didn't go through the lawyer.
Fine. So you have an accountant.
Yes, ma'am.
So your accountant had to speak to the seller's representative. Just say yes or no.
Yes,
don't shake your head.
Yes,
This is, you know, audio visual.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay. I'm directing you to make available to the plaintiff any information that you have that will enable her to locate Mr. Asfor for her $340. Do you understand?
That's correct. We do have his driving license and it has his address. She could.
What do you want?
They have all my stuff and I lost wages. I had clients calling.
We're done. They don't owe you a thing. Mr. Asfor owes you $340. Find him. They're going to give you his driver's license. We're finished.
What about my other stuff that's there? If they don't have it, don't they owe me?
No, they owe you nothing.
I'm not owed the money to repurchase?
They owe you nothing. They don't owe you for your 2 sheets or your hair accessories. We're finished.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy, a party planner didn't pay her bills.
I never received a billing.
We're not going to be able to come to a resolution in this case unless we cut out the baloney.
Next Judge Judy.
I think it was straight to the point and justice was served.
I will be contacting the previous owner.
Get ready to back to business. Yes, please.
Time to get back to business.
How did you find each other?
It was through a dating app.
I guarantee you, he thinks he's God's gift.
Charmed out of her money?
He gave him a credit card. He thinks he's adorable. He probably has done this sort of thing before.
But the judge doesn't like what she sees.
Attractive guy, but you know, you're a smart lady. That's not smart.
My bad.
This is Judge Judy. Julie Bossert is suing Manny Baker for unauthorized credit card charges and the return of property.
Judge, this is case number 107 on the calendar in the matter of Bossard versus Baker. Parties have been sworn in.
Thank you, Bird. Mr. Baker, I'm going to start with you, sir.
Yes.
You met the plaintiff online, is that right?
Correct.
How?
Through a series of messages. We messaged each other. I was working in her neck of the woods.
Well, how did you message each other? How did you find each other? That had to be a site
it was through a dating app.
What app?
Plenty of Fish.
And in what month did you first connect on this dating app?
I think it was March 2020.
And how far away did you live from each other?
I'm about 300 miles.
When, for the first time, did you meet in person?
Don't have the exact date, but it was late March, probably March 20th-ish.
Did you go to where she resided, or did she come to where you resided?
Actually, she was a hairstylist, and during COVID, haircuts were illegal, and my haircut was getting quite long, and she said, I'd give you a cut.
Well, that's 300 miles, sir.
Oh, no, I was working.
Asking you.
Mm-hmm. I was working in the area at the time.
Oh.
Yep.
What kind of work do you do?
At that time, I was selling walk-through bathtubs, sales, in-home sales.
Well, you were now 300 miles away from your home. Where were you staying?
I stayed, there was an Airbnb in Spokane that was probably 20 minutes from Post Falls, where Julie lived, where the hair salon was.
How long did you stay at this Airbnb?
February 1st to, I used it, I still use it, I still go there. I've been using it. The first time I went there was February 1st of 2020.
So that you use it for what purpose? For selling walk-through bathtubs?
Yeah, I have certain appointments that I have to be on throughout the state of Washington, Idaho, and Oregon.
For selling
yes, ma'am.
Through bathtubs?
Yes, ma'am.
So you work for a company?
Yep, in-home sales.
What's the name of the company?
Safe Step.
Are you a salaried or a commissioned employee?
Commission only.
How long have you been with them?
I started January 1st, did training. Actually, might have even been right at January 1st. I think I was out of training around January 11th.
What were you doing before that?
I'm a general contractor by trade and home sales side of it. When I get into someone's home, it's just second nature to me. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Then it's way more lucrative.
Prior to that, you were in general contracting. Did you work for somebody else, or did you do that yourself?
Mostly self-employed since right out of high school.
How old are you?
49.
Well, you're a grown-up, sir. You're almost a half a century old. So you were doing, until January of this year, you were doing what?
We would do...
Until you got this training job with walk-through bathtubs.
Right.
You were doing what to support yourself?
We were doing large remodels.
Were you ever...
Bathrooms.
Who was we?
Me and a team of guys that I've known for the last 20, 30 years. Some new ones, some old ones.
Have you ever been married?
I was.
Do you have children?
2 boys.
How old?
25 and 23.
Did you live with them when they were growing up?
I would never be apart from them. They were my everything.
That's not my question. I said, did you live with them when they were growing up? Is your former wife the mother of those children?
Yes.
And when were you divorced?
It was legal in 2011.
Well, you say it was legal. That means that you were separated prior.
9, but we had a $5.5 million bankruptcy that we had to file, and that took a few years to get accomplished.
During that time, did you live together from 2009 until 2011?
2010 is when I moved from the home.
Did the boys stay in the home?
They did.
So that one boy was 13 and one boy was 15?
Correct.
And they lived with their mother?
Right.
Okay. Now, what kind of business were you in that involved, I assume, personal $5 million bankruptcy?
We were a developer and general contractor. We had 70 lots, 18...
Who's we?
Me and my wife.
And were you relieved of debt in the bankruptcy filing?
It was a Chapter 13, yes. There was still some debt that I felt that I still owe even after the bankruptcy.
What did you use the plaintiff's credit card for? She gave you, shortly after you met, a credit card that had a 0 balance.
Right.
What did you use it for? Because you were the sole person who used it.
Correct.
What did you use it for?
We used it for a few supplies, and Julie did give me one card. Then she took that card back to do, and so I paid off the first card that she had given me. She paid it. I paid her to pay it.
What did you put on that card?
We bought supplies.
What did you put on the first card?
Supplies.
Supplies for what?
For a job.
For what?
That we currently had going on in the city of Newport, Washington. There was a small amount of supplies.
Shh. You mean you and the plaintiff?
No, that was just me.
So you bought supplies for your own business.
Correct.
for your own business,
Right.
not walk through bathtubs on commission. You were doing a side job, something else, with your own business having nothing to do with her, and you used her credit card for some supplies. How much? How much?
The supplies may have totaled $1,500 to $1,800.
Did you pay it off that card?
I did pay off that card.
Did he pay off that card?
I made a decision to take money he gave me to pay off that card, along with other money he gave me to put towards the other card.
Okay, so he gave you money and you paid off that card.
Correct.
Then you gave him another card. In what month?
Well, it was the
What month?
It was the same month. My bad.
Well, so tell me what month?
May.
So you met in March, the end of March, and by May, when you met, according to for either one or both of you, I'm not so sure about you, but I could tell you for sure about him. It wasn't a romantic thing for him. So at some point, what kind of work do you do, by the way?
I am a salon owner, and I still work behind the chair.
So you work hard for your money?
Yes,
I
ma'am.
assume.
I've had my business for 20 years.
Now, I know he thinks he's an attractive guy, but, you know, you're a smart lady. If you're a business owner for 20 years, you're a smart lady. You meet a guy the end of March, and by May, you're giving him a credit card. That's not smart.
Well, there were prior things that happened to me giving him the card. I was under the impression that we were going into the sewer business together. And as a part of doing business supplies...
Why in the world would you want to go into the sewer business together with somebody that you met online, that came for a haircut, and a couple of weeks later said, I need a credit card because I'll go into business with you. Right now, I just finished my training in walk-through bathtub sales. I've been through a bankruptcy, a $5 million bankruptcy with my ex-wife who had a business. Why would a smart lady who's run a business for 20 years give a credit card to anybody? You know that I have children who I love. I have grandchildren. I will give them anything they want except a credit card of mine. A finite amount of money? You want $500? Tell me what it's for, it's yours. You need more? Tell me what it's for. It's yours. If it's reasonable. I wouldn't give somebody a credit card. You give some stranger who you know nothing about, and you're a business gal. I'm a hardworking business guy. I don't understand it. So you're going to have to explain it to me, because according to you, you gave him a credit card. You know, he thinks he's adorable. He probably has done this sort of thing before. I assume he has over the last 10 years or even more when he was married. I'm not exactly sure about that. But I guarantee you, he thinks he's God's gift. Has that air, because no guy that didn't think that about himself would ask somebody and use their credit card and then stiff them, which is what you did. Which is what you did.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Did you pay off everything that you bought and still own?
Technically, no.
What does technically mean?
I literally made payments, and I've spent $5,500.
Who cares what you spent?
And later today.
How do you support yourself?
Right now, I'm not.
What does that mean? Right now?
I'm under a lot of stress right now. I'm trying to...
Julie Bossard is suing Manny Baker for unauthorized credit card charges and the return of property.
Now, you used her credit card, and then you stiffed her. That's what you say.
Not true.
So in order to do that, you really have to... Really? Not? Did you use her credit card and buy equipment?
Oh, I made payments.
Did you buy equipment?
I did, and I made payments.
Did you pay off... Just a second. Did you pay off everything that you bought and still own and still have possession of? Very easy question. Did you pay off everything that was purchased that you still have possession of?
Technically, no.
What does technically mean?
Well, I literally made payments, and I've spent $5,500 on replacing the tractor.
Who cares what you spent? I don't care about a tractor trailer. She bought a tractor trailer. You weren't in business with her. She got annoyed that you hadn't paid the credit card. She took back the tractor trailer that was in her name. So I don't care.
Okay.
You used the tractor trailer while you had it. Who cares? What I'm asking you, sir, is do you have equipment in your possession that was purchased on her credit card?
I do.
That you didn't pay for?
I do.
You do. Order for a marshal to come and get the following equipment. Read it out.
The following equipment.
What equipment is going to be picked up with the aid of a marshal?
It is a jetter and a sewer camera.
How much was it just for my jetter and sewer camera?
The Seattle pump was $2108.25, and the camera was $3423.80.
Well, that's $5,000 worth of stuff, $5,600 worth of stuff.
Correct.
Great. Where is it located?
City of Sumner.
What facility?
My home base. My home.
What facility? It has a name.
Well, we call
Apex
it.
Storage.
It's my
What is
primary residence. Do you want the address?
Is this equipment at your residence? I have
is.
to give the marshal a location to pick it up.
1 Valley Avenue East.
Is that where he lives?
Yes, ma'am.
You'll have a marshal's order. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you very much. We're done. Bye.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
There was an agreement that we had made.
I put my trust into somebody that had no intention of protecting me at all whatsoever.
She simply bowed out of the agreement and left me kind of out in the middle of nowhere.
So his focus was on anything, never continued on with the business to pursue it.
I see her point of view.
He was on to pole barns. He was wanting me to give him $20,000 for property to invest in a wedding venue.
We certainly had a lot of conversations.
I get up every day and I work really hard for my money.
She is a hard worker. She's done well for herself, and wish her nothing but the best.
Oh, I'm just going to keep on. This is 1 out of 4 with him.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Labrie versus Taub, step forward.
Sandra Nicole Labrie is suing her former roommate, Jonathan Taub, for the return of her property, motel bills, and punitive damages due to a false arrest.
Miss Labrie, what kind of work do you do?
I'm in.
It's not an answer. Don't look down here. Look right here. What
I'm
kind
an
of work
artist,
do you do?
Entertainment, music, and
You're
I do
an
side
artist in
catering.
entertainment and music.
Yes, and I.
Where do you work?
I do side catering.
You do side catering. What does that mean?
Side catering means like if a person need me to cook them anything, I can prepare a dish for them.
How do you support yourself?
Right now, I'm not.
What does that
under
mean?
a lot of
Right now,
stress. I'm under a lot of stress right now. I'm trying to
Me too.
regroup.
I'm getting more stressed by the minute.
I'm trying to regroup.
Judy continues in a moment.
That night, when the police came, she said, while you're at work, I'm having sex with all kinds of guys, and I have $30,000 in the bank, and I'm not going to pay you a dime. Ha ha.
How did you know her?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Sandra Nicole Labrie says former roommate Jonathan Taub won't return her property. She is also suing for motel bills and a false arrest.
I want to know how you support yourself.
Friends.
Friends.
Family and friends.
Family and friends.
Okay.
And where do you live? In what jurisdiction do you live?
Right now, I'm living in Century City.
Century City?
Yes.
That's pretty expensive territory.
In a motel.
You must have nice friends.
Well, I had savings.
What kind of work do you do, Mr. Taub?
Swimming pool, pumps, motors, equipment.
What does that mean, swimming pool, pumps, motors, equipment?
I repair them, install them.
You have a company?
Yeah, I work for...
No. You have a company.
Yes. I work for other people, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm self-employed for
What's
many
the name of
people.
your company?
Jonathan's Pool Service.
And are you a corporation?
No. Sole proprietorship.
So people pay you in cash?
No, like management companies. Once in a while I might get paid in cash, but it's 1099 most of it.
Okay, this is your claim. He took you in as a roommate.
Yes.
You were supposed to pay rent.
Yes.
He came up short most of the time on your rent. That's what he says. You came up short on your rent.
I don't think so.
At some point, according to you, you had a disagreement with him. You had to go to the hospital and spend 3 days in the hospital because you had an asthma attack.
Yes.
And then when you came out of the hospital, he had taken all of your stuff, put it in storage, locked you out.
Mm-hmm.
The police, according to you, told you you could break into the house, right?
Yes.
Police said you can break in through the glass door in the back.
They weren't getting into it.
No, according to you, the police told
Yes.
you to break into the house,
Yes.
is what I'm saying. That's what you say here. And so you broke into the house, then there was a big argument because he came home,
I called
found
the
you in the house.
locksmith.
What?
I called the locksmith right here. a locksmith.
Yes.
The police said they weren't getting involved. It was a civil matter.
Yes.
Do whatever I had to do. So I called the locksmith.
Yeah.
Because I was like from a hospital bed to a jail cell the same day.
Okay. When he came home, he found you in the house. There was an altercation. The police were called. He told the police that you had slapped him. You were taken to jail. You were ultimately released. $5,000 for stolen property, for your motel bills, for punitive damages due to false arrest.
Yes.
And you say she didn't pay rent.
Yes. The thing, I had to press charges because if I left her there, she might damage my property. If I were to stay there, she kept taunting me.
How was she taunting you?
That night, when the police came, she said, while you're at work, I'm having sex with all kinds of guys, and I have $30,000 in the bank, and I'm not going to pay you a dime. Ha ha.
How did you know her? Let's go back for
How'd I
one
meet
second.
her?
Yeah, how'd you meet her? And when?
Years ago.
Years ago, where?
Online, probably Craigslist.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Does she have her stuff back now?
I put everything in storage.
Does she have her stuff back now is my question.
I don't know. I haven't been in storage.
Is her stuff in storage?
Yes.
Great. And you haven't been there because
I'm locked out.
Listen to me. Try to clear your mind for a second. Have you been there?
Yes.
And you can't get in?
I can't.
Great. Well, he's going to let you in. You can take all your stuff.
No, she's lying. I saw
No,
she was in there.
Just a second. You're going to let her in. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Follow my words. I don't believe either one of you, actually, so I'm going to get rid of this case very fast. Do you know why I don't believe either one of you? Because you're both full of baloney.
No,
so listen to me very carefully. If you told me her stuff is in storage, then she's going to go and get us stuff from storage. No. And then the case is over. You don't have a counterclaim. He's not responsible for your motel bill.
Your Honor.
He's not responsible for your motel bill.
I can't get in storage because it's past due.
Bye.
Really?
Really?
I'll just excuse you and step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy, her mother-in-law stands behind her son.
She haven't filed for the divorce, and she's not. I will, as soon as I get home. I left the house due to domestic violence.
Judge Judy.
I probably would have let her stay there. She just said, hey, I don't have the money. Can you help me out?
Oh, God, I paid him rent.
But she wasn't like that. She was taunting me.
He owed me, for damaging my property, like 20 grand.
If you're a good little boy, maybe I'll pay you the rent. Hey, can you clean my toilet?
He stole my asthma inhaler.
I didn't take her medication. I'll admit I was hoping at one point that she would die because I was angry.
And I just don't want to discuss it.
I just learned probably what it's like to be married, No sex and lots of money out of your pocket.
It was just so awful and so horrible.
The judge sums up a neighbor's trauma.
Didn't assault you, didn't threaten you.
I think he's behaved in a way that I felt threatened.
How you felt is not relevant.
And a camera captures the total picture.
I just couldn't take it anymore because he was cursing at me and yelling at me.
That, sir, is not a demonstration of someone who's in fear.
This is Judge Judy. Aviram Kavan is suing his condominium neighbor, Alan Hanft, for legal fees and punitive damages for filing a false restraining order.
Justice case number 138 on the calendar in the matter of Kavan versus Hanft. Parties have been sworn in. Have a seat, sir.
Mr. Kavan, you and the defendant are neighbors in an apartment building.
A condo building, Your Honor.
According to your complaint, you share a penthouse with Mr. Hanft.
He's my next-door neighbor.
The problem between the two of you arose when you first moved into your apartment?
No, Your Honor. I've lived in the building for 6 years now. I started my renovations in November of 2019, so 1 year ago.
How long, Mr. Hanft, have you lived in that building?
Since 2015.
So you moved in after the plaintiff moved in?
Yes, Your Honor.
Who do you live there with?
I live by myself. I have a dog.
And Mr. Kavan, who do you live with?
I live by myself. I also have a dog.
I assume that prior to this renovation that you were doing, you and the defendant had no difficulty.
Correct, Your Honor.
I assume, Mr. Hanft, that prior to this renovation, you and the plaintiff had no difficulty.
No.
And prior to the renovation and the discussion about the balcony and the awning, you had no fear of him.
No, but I do now, and I have for several months.
Just a second. Just to answer my questions.
I've always been a little bit afraid of his pit bull, and it's been roaming in the hallway more at times since this all started.
Well, before this all started, did you ever discuss with him that his dog was roaming in the halls?
I told him I'm afraid of it, and he just laughed.
You mean before?
Before and during.
Okay. At some point in the renovation, Mr. Kavam, you approached the defendant and said to him that as part of the renovation, you no longer asked the defendant if you could take it down. He said no. And according to you, you took down the covering that covered your part of the balcony. Do you have pictures of that awning before you took it down?
Yes, I do.
I'm going to look at them.
Please, yeah.
When you took it down, the defendant clearly complained to the Homeowners Association, and you were reprimanded for taking down the awning without written permission.
Absolutely.
So I would like to see pictures of this awning,
okay,
which sort of forms the genesis of this case.
From the inside view of before the awning, if you see where this divider is here.
So it's a solid awning.
It's an aluminum solid awning from dating back from 1963, I think, maybe.
And certainly you understand that that's a fixture part of the building, and that in order to remove that, which I assume all the balconies have that are penthouses, there are only 2 penthouse apartments?
No, so there's 9 penthouse apartments. I was not the first to remove it. In fact, someone else has already removed it.
Point is, you took off the awning, and they didn't make you put it back up, and it's still off.
Absolutely.
That's actually not what the case is about, but it's sort of the genesis of the difficulty.
Yeah,
between you
it stemmed
and
from
Mr.
here.
And so you did take the awning down. The defendant's cross-complaint, he began to feel nervous around you because you had words with each other. And he filed a protective order against you, the basis of which was ridiculous, according to you, and forced you to spend close to $5,000 in counsel fees to defend that lawsuit, which ultimately was either dismissed or withdrawn by the defendant. So it's really not about the awning. It's really about the protective order.
Correct.
The awning's done.
The awning is done.
And Mr. Haft says that after this awning incident, they developed a course of conduct that he found harassing and threatening, and that's why he filed for a protective order. I don't know what happened to the protective order. He's going to tell me. But Mr. Haft, since really the whole issue is up to you to convince me that you had a reasonable basis to file for a protective order, I'm going to start with you. The first thing is I want you to show me a copy of the complaint that you filed, and then I have questions for you. Great. Now I want you to tell me, Mr. Haft, in what month and year did the plaintiff take down the awning over his apartment?
He took it down November 13th, I believe, 2019. And the awning issue is not the point of this, but it's not resolved either.
No, the awning issue precipitated the basis for your application for a protective order.
Yes.
Which forms the basis of his claim that you filed a false protective order.
It was totally not false,
So what
Your
I
Honor.
want you... So, just a second. That's why we're here, sir. You have to understand 2 things. Conduct by someone against whom you filed a protective order has to be such that a reasonably prudent person would understand that this was threatening behavior. If you come to a circumstance and you feel threatened, but there is no overt demonstration of threatening behavior that a reasonable person would view as threatening behavior, that a court considers when they consider whether the filing of a protective order is real or not. So now we're going to go back to November 13th, 2019, which is the incident that precipitated this bad feeling. And tell me the first incident that you allege, and you don't allege any of these things. You don't allege anywhere that he assaulted you.
Physically,
correct?
no.
So protective order covers conduct that is assaultive, menacing, threatening, or harassing. That's the criteria usually for protective orders.
I would say it was more harassing.
Fine. And so if you characterize, so didn't assault you, didn't menace you, didn't threaten you.
By him and behaved in a way that I felt threatened.
Well, no. Well, how you felt is not relevant if the behavior itself did not rise to the level of what a reasonable person under the circumstance would find threatening behavior. So
he would
let's
yell
go
at
back.
me and curse at me in my private.
No.
It actually started in August when he was approaching me. He wanted me to say that I wanted to take down the roof. And I started off just explaining to him again and again that I preferred to have the roof, the sun protection, and the rain protection. And he just kept asking me, and I kept explaining it politely, but he wouldn't take no for an answer. So he started, badgering me, telling me it has to come down.
No. Listen, Mr. Haft, you're looking over to the side. What I want you to do is look at me. Badgering is a conclusory term. I want you to tell me what he did. The fact that you found it badgering is not particularly relevant. So he kept asking you to put your hand down. Give me a specific date where he said or did an act that was threatening.
May 9th, he said that he had enough of me. He's tired of taking it easy on me. He called me this, he called me that. He's frightening. I didn't want to pass him to go home. Then when I started to take my phone out of my pocket because it was so horrible and this frightening and upsetting and just a terrible experience, this is so bad I want to try to record it because it's awful. And then he amazingly, immediately just stopped. Then I go, well, why aren't you cursing at me anymore? Why did you stop cursing at me now that I have my phone out? And it was incredible. He goes, I never cursed. I go, you were just cursing at me like 9 seconds ago. He goes, tell me what I said. I want to hear you say it. And then he called me like an idiot and a child. And this was the first time I said this to him. And after months and months of being fearful of him, I said, look, I can't take this anymore in my own home. If you don't stop harassing me and abusing me, you're going to have to explain this to the police or a judge or somebody because I can't take it. And he goes, shut up. Get your judge. Get your police. And then he left. And I also want to say one thing. He'd been confronting me and following me around and jumping out of his apartment, jumping in the elevator. I'd be walking my dog in front of the building, and he would just be standing like this, like just staring daggers at me. I wouldn't even want to return home. I wouldn't want to even leave my apartment. And in this whole time, Your Honor, that this was going on, I was proud of myself. After it got bad, I would walk in the other way. I never showed any emotion. This was the only time that I ever showed any emotion. I showed it to my friends when I would tell them what's been happening to me. But the only emotion that I ever expressed in front of him about this horrible stuff that he was doing was that time, because I just couldn't take it anymore because he was cursing at me and yelling at me. And it was just so awful and so horrible. In my own home, I didn't want to walk out of my door for the longest time already. If I see his car parked in the building, I feel sick to my stomach because he's going to confront me and harass me. And it's very, very unpleasant. And that should not be how it is in somebody's home, Your Honor, is what I believe.
All right, Mr. Haft, now I want you to just stifle it for a moment. And what I find interesting about what you told me is if he stopped doing what he was doing, cursing you and calling you names when you went to take out your phone, and instead of going into your apartment, you said to him, why did you stop cursing at me? Why don't you say the same words that you were saying before when I have my phone out?
That was the first time I ever had an emotional response.
Just a second. I'm just letting you know. That, sir, is not a demonstration of someone who's in fear.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Wouldn't say to them, come on, talk into the phone like you were talking before, because I would have darted into my apartment.
I couldn't get by him.
No, that's not true. You're making that up.
Aviram Kavan says condominium neighbor Alan Hanft filed a false restraining order after they had a disagreement over a shared awning. Alan is countersuing for legal fees, harassment, and infliction of emotional distress.
Okay, if I was afraid of a neighbor...
That was the one and only time I ever said anything to him like that.
It doesn't matter. You're not paying attention to what I'm saying to you. If I was afraid of somebody because they were yelling and cursing at me and took out my phone and the person stopped and backed off, I wouldn't say to them, Come on, talk into the phone like you were talking before, because I would have darted into my apartment if I was afraid.
I couldn't get
Mr.
by
Ham.
him.
If I was afraid. No, that's not true. You're making that up.
No, I'm not.
There had to be something before May 9th. So I want you to show me the emails that you sent to the Homeowners Association about the plaintiff.
Your Honor, while he's looking for that, can I just mention that the incident that he's just mentioned was all had it subpoenaed.
Do you have it?
It should be available on the monitor.
Oh, yeah, I'd like to see it.
There is no audio.
That was the only time in
now
like
I'm reading.
12 months that I
Just
spoke
a second.
back to him.
Right. I'm reading something. So this was January of 2020. Preventing me from leaving the service. Okay. Now, was this the first time, Mr. Haft, you had complained about the plaintiff's dog?
No. Here's when October 23rd, 2019.
Okay, I'd like to see it. Okay, and that was October of 2019. Mr. Cavan, now each time around this time, were you contacted by the board, Mr. Cavan?
I've had numerous issues with the board. I used to actually be on the board for 2 years. I was voted on for 2 years. So one of the members of the HOA I had some issues with, mainly...
She called the police on him. She was afraid.
I want to tell you something. If you do that again, sir, I'm going to dismiss your counterclaim. Do you understand? Yes. Because it's a demonstration of behavior that is odd, Mr. Haft. Now, each time a letter was sent leading up to May 9th of this year or May 8th of this year, each time a letter was sent, were you contacted by the board?
No.
Did you ever receive any communication from the board?
I have, not with regard to my neighbor, just mainly that she's still ongoing. It's over $10,000.
Okay, this is how I'm going to summarize all of the underlying action that I have to know before I get to my final questioning of you, Mr. Haft. Prior to you deciding to ask for forgiveness rather than permission, that you clearly had to know you needed as a former board member, Mr. Cavan, to remove the awning. You removed it anyway, and that clearly created bad feeling. And there is no question in my mind that based upon what the defendant says, after he complained and made a pest of himself, became a nudnik to the board, clearly, you were annoyed with him. He was certainly annoyed that you had removed this top balcony, and a situation developed that he felt that the recourse that he had was to file a protective order against you. I don't know what he was asking for. It's not particularly relevant because the protective order was ultimately dismissed. So now I have several questions for you, Mr. Haft. Do you still live in the building or have you moved? That's either I still live there or I moved. That's either I still live there or I moved.
I still live there.
And I want you to tell me, what date did you file for the...
June 23rd of this year, Your Honor.
When was the case either tried or dismissed?
It was going to be tried on August 15th, but he asked for a continuance.
I don't know whether you're purposely trying, if you're purposely trying to get on my nerves.
No.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You do not deny the statement that the plaintiff has not lived in the building since the gut renovation started.
I don't know where he's lived.
Okay. Fully believe.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Aviram Cavan says condo neighbor Alan Hanft filed a false restraining order after they had a disagreement over a shared awning.
Okay, I want to know on what date the case was either tried or dismissed.
September 25th.
Did you withdraw the protective order on September 25th or
Yes.
24th? Now I would like to see the video of the May 8th incident.
You know, that door is the freight elevator door.
Got it. Okay.
Since the renovation started, it's been a complete teardown, so it's been completely uninhabitable. So anytime I've been there, it's
you have
really...
not been in the building since your renovation started.
Well, I would obviously come to check up on the workers.
But you haven't lived there.
No, I've barely been there.
Do you have a paid invoice from your attorney?
I do.
I'd like to see it. You do not deny the statement, Mr. Hanft, that the plaintiff has not lived in the building since the gut renovation started.
I don't know where he's lived.
Okay, fully believe me. 4875. Mr. Hanft, your counterclaim is dismissed for harassment. I am awarding the plaintiff the counsel fees that he's requested, $4,875.
There was one extra bill.
From whom?
I had to retrieve footage.
Just a second. All right. Well, that brings your claim to over $5,000. That's the maximum that I can award you, sir. Okay. There are several things, Mr. Hanft. When you have a neighbor that you're unhappy with, there are several things that you do. One of the things that you don't do when they are no longer physically your neighbor is you don't file for a protective order and you withdraw it when it was ready to go to trial. And some arbitrator like me could have looked at that footage and said, who looks like the person who is more aggressive? In that footage of May 8th, the only aggressive conduct and body language that I saw was yours, right from the beginning.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Are you the victim of an assault? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, he's not living there anymore. He should have not taken the steps that he did in renovating his apartment without HOA approval. That is clear. I do not condone that. And there are consequences to that. And he hasn't lived in his place.
He was there a lot,
consequences. I'm sure that
I
there will be.
see him all the time.
Just a second. I'm not talking to you anymore. Now I'm issuing a judgment. And the judgment that I'm issuing is that you're going to pay his counsel fees. If he had counsel fees of almost $5,000, sir, you had no forcing him to pay $5,000. You withdrew the case. I don't see why you withdraw the case. Maybe your attorney had the footage. Anyway, your counterclaim is dismissed. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. We're finished. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy.
Either you lied to me today or you lied to the Better Business Bureau.
That was a mistake I made.
It's always a mistake when you get caught.
Your Honor, may I say...
Nothing.
Okay.
Next Judge Judy.
I was not comfortable returning home or opening my door.
Alan has been a complete nightmare of a neighbor.
And I'm only human. I showed some emotion on that one time in the entire year.
He enjoys playing the victim. He's neurotic.
I'd like him to stay away from me and leave me alone.
I would like to go separate ways, and hopefully we'll be happy again at some point.
Things were sort of tense.
She says her roommates got pushy.
We got into a disagreement and an argument over my boyfriend, the fact that they didn't like him and they didn't want him over anymore.
They were there for multiple days on end. It wasn't like he just came to visit.
Was it fear that forced the issue?
She sent a text message.
Do in your apartment anything unlawful.
This is Judge Judy. Arena Robinson and Alyssa Galindo are suing their former roommate, Jasmine Linden, for unpaid rent and damages to their apartment.
Judge, this is case number 140 on the calendar in the matter of Galindo Robinson versus Linden. Parties have been sworn in.
Who's going to speak for the roommates?
Oh, I will.
And your last name is?
Robinson.
Miss Robinson, the defendant was a roommate of the two of you, and I believe there was one other person?
Yes, Your Honor.
One other person?
Yes, it was Alyssa.
Okay. And did you all move in at the same time?
Yes, we did. We moved in on October 15th.
Did you sign a lease?
Yes, we did.
You said you moved in on?
October 15th.
Of 2019?
Correct.
Did all four roommates sign the lease?
There was only 3 roommates total, and yes, we are all on the lease.
And what was the duration of the lease?
It was a 10-month leasing term.
There came a time when there was a problem with the defendant and her relationship with the two of you. And from what I gather from the complaint and the answer, that emanated from the fact that she had a boyfriend, and there was a post that her boyfriend made that you felt was compromising.
Definitely.
And you brought it up sort of tense. The boyfriend didn't come around anymore. And sometime in May of this year, the issue of the photograph, the posting came up again. There was an argument, and the defendant left. That was in May, correct?
Correct. May 21st, 2019.
Okay. And she had already paid her rent for May,
correct,
her portion of the rent. And what was your portion of the rent, Miss Linden?
Me and Arena both shared it. It was $780 for both of our rooms. Alyssa paid a little bit more, but I paid around $800.
Would you tell me what your rent was?
$780.
You paid?
Plus utilities.
And you had paid May's rent?
Yes, Your Honor.
And when you moved out, you'll tell me about that.
So I moved
day
out
in May that you...
Yeah.
I didn't ask you yet.
Okay.
You continued to pay rent for the month of June, even though you weren't living there, right?
Yes.
There's no issue that she paid the month of June, correct?
No, correct.
So she paid May, and she wasn't there for part of the time in May. She paid June's rent, and she wasn't there at all. She paid the month of July.
Correct.
Pursuant to her lease.
Correct.
And her agreement, even though she wasn't there at all. Did you have your own room?
Yes, I did.
Did you have your own room, Miss Robinson?
Yes, I did as well.
So it was a 3-bedroom apartment?
Correct.
For the month of June and July, I want you to be very careful about how you answer this question. Did anyone...
Did not, Your Honor.
Is what you're telling me that there was no overnight guest in Miss Linden's apartment, June or July?
No, there was not anybody in her room, Your Honor.
I'm not talking about living there. I'm talking about stayed over in her room.
No, we did not have anybody at the house in those months. That did sleepover.
The month that she did not pay, which was the last month, and there was a prorated piece of that, how much was her prorated piece of rent for the month of August?
The prorated amount was $556.
Your complaint alleges money owed for prorated rent and apartment damage, and that figure you give me of $556 is what you are suing for. What do you allege the apartment damage was?
We got receipts back with invoices saying that they replaced the entire carpet all throughout the house, along with closet doors, paint, and cleaning fees.
Just a second. Well, that's not my question to you. Is what you're saying that the $556 includes what the building is charging for taking out of security and charging for you? I didn't ask you that. I asked you what her prorated share of rent was that you are claiming that she owes you. That can't be the same figure as damages.
3 of us, I believe it was a figure of $1,200. And with that, split between 3 people would be $400 each.
Are you talking about her prorated share of rent?
Yes, till August 14th, not including the damages.
Did you live there in August?
We did not. We moved out July 25th of 2019.
She was already paid through the month of July.
Yes, and then we still had the prorated amount until the end of August 14th. And we also have evidence here saying that she stated that we will all be obligated to pay until August 14th from Jasmine Linden.
Do you have the text on July 25th to show me? You said in your answer that you have a text from one or both of the plaintiffs that said if you dropped off the keys, you would not owe any more money?
That is correct.
Do you have that text?
I do.
I'd like to see it.
This is part of it, and there's another page. There's actually 2.
Who sent that to you?
Arena did.
Arena is?
Arena Robinson, one of the plaintiffs.
Okay. If someone to return in the keys today. I'd like to see the next part.
And the last page is where I stated that my keys were turned in.
Did you have security deposit when you moved in?
We did.
Dollars?
That is correct, Your Honor.
When did you give the building notice, Miss Robinson, the lessor of the apartment that you were living in, that you were moving?
We gave them notice on July 14th, 2019, on a 30-day notice.
Your lease was up in August.
Yes, we actually moved into a new apartment, and in order to get all of our finances straight, we moved in a little bit earlier than our lease was up, but we still continue to pay at the prior apartment.
On condition that you were out on the 25th of July.
Correct.
That was the condition.
Yes, we left on the 25th.
Of letting you out of your lease.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. You didn't have cats, did you?
I did not.
You did not have cats. You have a cat.
They both do.
We both do.
No, you have a cat, Miss Robinson.
We do, yes.
Yeah, both have cats. And there was some cat damage in the apartment that they're claiming. The other damage you mentioned was a hole. Now, do we know how that hole happened?
Yes, we do. It was from all of our mounted TVs. We had 3 mounted TVs in the apartment. 4. Sorry.
Okay. And how much did they charge you for spackling that hole?
We spackled it ourselves.
Okay. I'm going to get to your counterclaim. Your counterclaim is silly. It's dismissed.
Oh, my counterclaim, Your Honor, if I can.
Your whole counterclaim is dismissed.
I know. I just wanted to. It's mainly just about the damage to my couch that their cats did, and that they did. Okay. There's a burn mark on it.
Counterclaim is dismissed.
Okay.
Now I want to hear about the event that caused you to move out. I'm going to consider that and whether or not you have any part of paying rent after you paid for both May, June, and July when you weren't there, and they moved out themselves in the month of July.
Yeah.
You want to briefly tell me about that event that you say you felt unsafe, so you moved out? Let me hear.
Yeah, so we, in May, at the end of May, we got into a disagreement and an argument over my boyfriend, the fact that they didn't like him and they didn't want him over anymore. And I took that and the way that she had worded her text message that...
Just a minute. You have to tell me, not that they didn't like him. I want to know who said what to whom.
Arena.
Somebody said something. Arena said to you.
She sent a text message because he was going to come up there that week, and she sent a text message saying that he was no longer welcome at the apartment, and that neither one of them wanted him up at the apartment, and that the lease was up in August, so I'm sure I had plans to move out, and so, good. Sorry.
Okay. Just speak slowly, not like you're speaking to a contemporary, but to an elderly person.
Okay.
They sent you a text message. I would like to see the text message that Arena sent you.
I don't have that printed out, but I can pull it up on my phone if
We have
that's
it, Your
okay.
Honor.
I'd like to see it.
Would you like to see the photo as well? We have a photo attached as well.
See. Okay, so my question to you, Miss Robinson, and Galindo?
Yes.
Is that your last name?
Yes.
Did the defendant's boyfriend ever do anything to either of you, either inside or outside of the apartment that the three of you shared?
As far as...
Miss Galindo? No. Just a second. That's a question. Did the defendant's boyfriend ever do anything to either of you, either inside or outside of the apartment, physically?
No.
Did he ever say, in the times that he visited you, did he ever say anything to either one of you that you would like to tell me about that was threatening or menacing, either inside or outside of your apartment?
No, he did not.
Then you can't tell her who she can have in or out of the apartment. Plain and simple. That was not a side agreement of yours. That was in writing. You had a lease. If you told me that the boyfriend, I mean, if he put up some obscene picture of himself on the internet, that's his own stupidity. But evidently he was there frequently, and when he was frequently there, he never did anything. Well, I'll ask you one other question. Did he ever do in your apartment any restrictions on a tenant and telling a tenant that they can't have a social guest because you don't like them and you think that they're crude, lewd, for whatever reason, not good for her, whatever the reason? I mean, she's an adult. If she signed a lease, you can't tell her she can't have somebody over. You want to say something, Miss Galindo?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today.
I stood up from the table and I just started dancing. And Darren touched my behind. And with a reflex, I did like that and he fell on the floor. And then I went to sit down and he came punch me in my... Sorry. He came and punched me in my face.
Arena Robinson and Alyssa Galindo claim former roommate Jasmine Linden owes for rent and damages to their apartment. Alyssa is countersuing for the return of rent, storage fees, and a damaged couch.
Well, you want to say something, Miss Galindo?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Yeah.
The reason
Go
as
ahead.
to why we said that is because she would have her boyfriend over multiple days at a time. He would be over for 3 to 4 days at a time, spend the night. He wasn't just visiting casually. He was together. They were there for multiple days on end. It wasn't like he just came to visit.
That's okay. That's okay. Your case is dismissed. We're done. Thank you very much. Go home. Be happy.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That's it. You're done. Goodbye.
This case is completed. Parties are excused.
I'm glad that she saw that it was a total, like, it's totally, like, then they didn't have a case.
There are some people who sign leases and break leases.
So I'm glad that she saw that I was truthful and that they had no claim to.
We were completely okay with paying until the end of the lease.
What they were trying to say I did or didn't do.
She, on the other hand, decided to just completely ghost us.
They felt like they had, but they had to say what they had to say, and we went our separate ways. It was best for everybody.
I don't think that is very mature as an adult, so that's all I have to say about that.
My grandma paid $1,200 for it. It was a brand new couch.
The couch was free. Ridiculous.
And their cats ripped it up, and they've also, there's a burn mark in the couch.
It didn't get destroyed.
It was definitely a lesson learned, and I'm glad just to put this all behind me.
Time to move on and get her out of my life.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Larry versus Harrington. Step forward, please.
Regina Larry is suing her former friend, Darren Harrington, for punching her in the face during a get-together at a friend's house.
Miss Larry, it is your claim by punching you in the face.
Yes.
Mr. Harrington acknowledges that he punched you in the face. Mr. Harrington said he was acting in self-defense. Okay, when did this happen?
I believe it was his birthday, August 16th.
2013?
Yes.
And there was a party?
Well, yeah, there was a little get-together.
How many people?
There was, what, 5 of us, 6 of us.
Besides you and the defendant, who else was there?
It was Vincent, it was Lala, it was Dougie, and my brother came in afterwards.
What time did the incident take place?
About 5 p.m.
Tell me what happened.
At first we were playing cards, and after cards, everybody started doing their own thing. I stood up from the table and I just started dancing, and Darren touched my behind. And
he did?
Yes. And with a reflex, I did like that, and he fell on the floor. And I told him, don't you ever disrespect me like that again. He said, all right, I got this, all right, I'm sorry. And then I went to sit down, and he came, punch me in my, sorry. He came and punched me in my face.
Okay, go ahead.
How in the world, how big she is, why I want to fight her? She bigger than me. Why I want to start a fight with her?
Let's start out with, you were at Vincent's
We
house.
was at Vincent's house, yes.
She got up to dance.
Yes.
And she was dancing.
Yes, yes.
Did you touch her behind?
I ain't touch her behind.
Where did you touch her?
I ain't touch her.
News in a moment.
Had you ever had trouble with Miss Larry?
No.
Could you think of any reason why she would just come over if you had no trouble with her
and
drunk. Slap you?
She was drunk.
What about you?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Regina Larry says former friend Darren Harrington punched her in the face during a get-together. Darren claims he was protecting himself.
Let's start out with, you were at Vincent's
We
house.
was at Vincent's house, yes.
She got up to dance.
Yes.
Did you touch her behind?
I ain't touch her behind.
Where did you touch her?
I ain't touch her. She touched me.
Okay, so she was up there dancing.
She was dancing.
And what were you doing?
I was by the kitchen, by the sink. I turned around.
Was she dancing in the kitchen?
She was dancing. Yes, ma'am.
In the kitchen?
Yes, she was dancing in the kitchen.
Is that where you were dancing?
No, ma'am. I was at the table. We were playing cards.
Which table?
At the dining room table. There's a kitchen and there's a dining room. We were playing cards at the dining room table. I just got up out my seat and just started dancing.
Just a second. So what you're saying is that this all transpired in the dining area?
Yes.
Was it in the dining area or the kitchen?
It was in the kitchen.
Kitchen. Okay, so what happened in the kitchen?
Hit me in my face for no reason. Then she threw me on the ground. My friend Vincent, he the one grabbed her, so his friend grabbed me. So she started trying to come at me, then that when I had swung on her for self-defense, because she was going to try to kill me. Yeah.
Mr. Harrington, had you ever had trouble with Miss Larry?
No.
Then could you think of a reason why she would hit you?
She started everything, the whole day.
No, I'm just asking, could you think of any reason why she would just come over to you if you had no trouble with her?
She was
and
drunk.
Slap you?
She was drunk.
What about you?
I was tipsy.
You were tipsy?
I was tipsy.
You would all had something to drink that day.
And she the one bought it.
Good. I don't care who bought them. Good for her. Why didn't you buy the drinks?
Because my birthday.
Okay. Miss Larry, who is this gentleman?
That's my brother. He came in afterwards. I was bringing...
So he wasn't there?
Well, yes, he was there.
When it happened?
Yes.
Would you stand up, please, sir? What is your last name?
Larry.
Okay, Mr. Larry. You know Mr. Harrington for a long time?
Not that long.
How long?
A couple of months. I just knew that he was
friends with my sister.
Okay. Did you see this incident?
Yes, I did.
Were you playing cards as well?
No, I was just standing by waiting for a ride home from my sister.
Okay. Was she drinking?
Yes, we were all drinking.
She wasn't good.
I was waiting for a ride. I didn't know her decision. I didn't know what she's going to make.
Tell me what you observed.
They were playing cards, and it came to an end, and everybody went their separate ways. And she just stood up out of nowhere, and she just started dancing. And the gentleman, Mr. Harris, touched her on the butt, and out of instinct, she just threw her arm back, fell to the floor. She approached him, said, "Don't touch me in that way again," and that was that. As she went to go sit down, out of nowhere, Mr. Harris struck her in the face.
Okay. Have a seat, please. Okay. Did you seek medical treatment?
Yes, I did.
I'd like to see your bill, please. How did you get an injury to your left shoulder and left wrist?
Because when he hit me and then we were fighting, that was the second time, okay? We were already had tussled. And that's when I was like, you leave me alone. And when he charged me like a football player, that's when Vincent came and pulled them apart. I had my arm around him like this. So when Vincent and must have pulled, I must have hurt, because...
Okay.
Yeah.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by Judy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Well, where did he punch you?
Punched me in the forehead right here.
Oh, in your forehead.
And that's when we started tussling. That's how I hurt my arm.
Okay, got it. Okay, so what you're seeking is the payment of your medical bills and some money for pain and suffering. You're seeking $1,500.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500. Keep your hands off the lady, sir. Don't act disrespectfully.
Please excuse me. Step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
You rented a car for him. You destroyed the car.
Accidentally.
Who gave him the credit card?
He's a big manipulator.
He played you.
Next Judge Judy.
She's the one started. She was dancing, then I turned around, she slapped me in my face.
Because it happened earlier that day.
Oh, she put bill on me. Yep, she so did. She put bill on me.
He disrespected me earlier that day by opening a can of beer in my car.
My whole brand new outfit, she put bill on me.
I said what I had to say to him, and I told him that I should let him out, but I didn't. We were on our way back to Vincent's house, so.
No, she grabbed out my hand and put bill on me.
He needs to stop drinking.